Welcome, YouTube community. Welcome to another Nerdy Collective show. And now that I got you, bam! Welcome, everybody. I want to appreciate it. Happy 4th of July! Yay! So, welcome. And another Nerdy Collector show. We got another special guest for you tonight. But without further ado, my co-host for tonight, as always, boom. Yo, brother, what is up? How are you? Another week.
Not much. I got something that you have.
Yes,
in your
I
collection.
know. I want you to share it with the community. That's pretty exciting. Very cool. Check this out, you guys. Love this. Love this. Hold on. There we go.
Second Golden Age book, and the only EC works in Frazetta. So the only
issue 13, right?
Mm-hmm. Issue 13, and the
and
only
Frazetta's work on the inside or the outside, on the cover or the inside.
Inside. Cover is what is it? Kirkham something. I forgot.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, so what are you gonna do with this book? Tell people.
My idea is to get Sarah, since I'm gonna meet Sarah next Friday. I'm gonna have Sarah actually sign the book.
Sarah Frazetta. Yeah. That's awesome.
My idea is to have Sarah sign it, and Sarah actually take a picture with this book, because Sarah even said she's never seen it. She said
she will see it.
No, she said it's incredible. It lasted this long.
Yeah. Let's give a quick shout out to the chat really quick. Hold on. Here we go. We got Magic Lasso in the house. Let me get my chat caught up. For some reason, it is buggy like crazy. What is going on? Mm-hmm. All right. So start at the top of the list. We got Chop Drop 2013. Yo, what's up? Yes, he is still going to be on tonight. Puff Comics 83. Yo, how you doing? Firehawk. Thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate it. Magic Lasso, my brother. How you doing? Happy 4th of July. And Anthony, good morning, buddy. Got a little surprise for you as well. Talking about Anthony. Comic Hall. Yo, we got a brick drop for you guys. Hold on. Joey Bag of Sevens, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Wolf Blitz, yes. Internet is finally working. It's been driving me crazy all this afternoon. They've been working on the lines out here. Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate it. So without further ado, really quick here, I want to do a couple things. I want to do a couple shout outs really quick, Jeff. Cool. First one is down below in the links in the description. I have some links I would like you guys to go check out. Just check them out. And there's a new book coming out in July here. And let's get this thing out. Where are we here? Bum. Man, I'm just like totally all over the place.
You're good.
I just put him in there. Where is he?
If you see the Misty America thing, that's what it is.
Yes, please go check out Misty America. We have
Indigo.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking for it. For it. Okay. So down below, there's a link down below in the description, you guys. And it's for Misty America #1 by Anthony Sika. Sub to his channel. Go check out his channel. Go check out that link. You'll get all the information on his channel. And he's also got a sub link for, what was it, Jeff?
Indiegogo.
Indiegogo. So he's raising money on it as well. Please go support him. He's awesome. And I tell you, the cover is pretty hot. She's got guns. And I mean, she's got guns. Yeah. But I mean, machine guns in your hand. But go check him out. He's
Robert don't like blondes, and he likes this blonde.
Yeah, he's got guns. But all I gotta say is, you guys, seriously, Anthony, he's a member of the community. He writes comic books. The guy is awesome. Go check him out. Go check out his channel. He's always on Jeff's show on Sundays.
He's a co-host.
I'll probably have. I'm definitely going to have him on as a guest as well. Definitely to show off and talk about his book. I've got all of his books that he's ever put out, which I'm very proud of, all signed and autographed. So big shout out to you, Anthony. I really appreciate it. And there is another one I worked on, and this one is a quick drop. Right now, you guys, from now until July 5th, make sure you go check out my brother here. And all I'm going to do is just drop his quick little intro. Bam. And on his site, if you go there right now, it's 25% on all your order on his entire website. That is including slabs. That's including raw books, all of it. So go check it out until July 5th. You get 25% off on all your orders. So go check him out as well. Go check out John Hoffman. They're a great family. Go check them out. And I want to drop one more little commercial. So this is for my brothers tonight. This was from the Comics Hall Crew Show. It's called the Comic Hall Crew Show and All Things Pop Culture. Yeah, I want to make sure I get that right because it's a long title.
Everything.
Yeah, but it's about everything. I had a lot of fun on that show. I'm probably going to be a regular on that. Matt and all the boys, Big Al, you always see me drop a video for Big Al. And their links are down in the description down below. Go check them out, you guys. They're a great show. They do a good show every Saturday night. It's usually they start around 7, 8-ish, I think it is. But I made them a little commercial, and here you go, boys. This is just for you, Matt, Al, and the crew. Wham. Make sure you go check those guys out. It was a blast tonight, you guys. Now, without further ado, our special guest for tonight. Bam! Here we go.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, buddy? Thanks for being here. Eva Mike, what's up?
Hey, Robert.
We're going to switch you around really quick here. Sorry for the little delay, but I had to get some stuff out and support the community. Here we go. Where is it? There we go. Put your little logo up there. Wham. Okay. So how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How y'all
Welcome
doing?
to the show.
Thanks for having me. Not bad. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Not bad. Not bad.
Everybody, I saw Chop. My boy Chop was first in the comments.
Who is it? I'm trying to my damn lag on the thing. Who is it?
Chop and Drop 2013.
Chop and Drop. Yeah, where is he? On the top? There he is. Yo. Yes, heck yeah. So, how has your week been? You have dropped like I bet 20 videos in a week, especially this week. I watched your one last night on bullies. I actually enjoyed that. That was very good. I was watching YouTube, happened to be watching on my big screen TV. And man, dude, I tell you, you hit my heart. And there was a story you were talking about a while back, and it was probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, roughly. No, I think I might have it posted down in links below. But that one really touched my heart. And it was about your life story about growing up as a kid and didn't have a lot of money, and your mom and dad and all that. It touched me. So I just want to say good stuff, buddy. Also, welcome to the community. And this is a Q&A about you, Mike and Jeff. Do you want to take it away? Do you have any questions for us first, Mike?
Nah, not really. I mean, I'll let the conversation go as far, we'll see where it takes us. I'd rather y'all ask me. I got questions at the end. Oh,
cool.
All right.
Everybody in the chat tonight, please put a question in the chat tonight. If you got a question for Mike, ask anything. If I feel it's inappropriate, I will not post it. So that's your warning right there. You can post it in the chat, but it doesn't mean it's going to go up on the show. So
I could say this. I could say this to all the people out there. There's one question that I would like y'all to ask me, or the viewers out there. If y'all can figure out what that one question that I want y'all to ask me, I will give that person a very cool A-OK.
Ooh, did you hear that? Okay, if you ask it. Jeff, take it away, brother.
All right, I got one. So, Mike, how long have you been collecting, and where? I got two questions. This is two questions. How long have you been collecting, and where did the evil moniker come from for your YouTube channel?
That's a good one. Both good ones. Okay, so I started collecting comics since I was into comics since I was like 4 or 5. As far as I could remember picking up something, I picked up comics before books, and it was done by my parents. My parents would give us, me and my brother, they would give us comics on long road trips and stuff like that, ways to keep us busy back in the 80s, before tablets and phones and that kind of stuff. The evil, that actually comes from my mom. My mom has been calling me that probably since I was like 5 or 6, and forever it was just like, you're an evil kid, or come back here, evil. And then my name would follow, and my name is Mike. So the evil Mike, I think it was a friend that had heard it separately, and it was like, it went out as, why are you so evil, space Mike, and that kind of stuff. Everybody started calling me Evil Mike.
Oh, okay.
But there is a reason behind Evil's comics. Evil does not mean what you think it does. It's actually abbreviation. Like it actually stands for every virtue is loved. Okay. Or I like to tell people easy.
Right away, Barbarian, just starting off with yeah, come on, Barbarian. No, I'm not posting that. You have to look in the chat, Mike. Sorry. There we go. Companies, comics or novels too. Okay, Mike, how would you compare comics to novels? There we go.
I read both, and I read a lot. I read a lot of novels. I want to say I read a good maybe 60 novels a year. If you do read novels, I read big novels. Some of my favorites are like The Stand, big books. But
I know what your favorite is. If
What's
anybody watches Evil, you should know what his favorite novel horror writer is.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, guys.
He's one of my inspirations. He's one of those people that, man, I don't even want to take up his time. That's how big he is to me. Like, I would just like to see him from afar. I want to go to I want to go to Maine one day just to be around all those, places, because he's put it into all of his books.
Sure.
His son is writing now too. One of his
sons
is writing now.
I love it. His son and daughter, and I love both of their works. I watch all their TV stuff. I've been following.
You like Stephen King, Mike, just like I like Clive Barker. So
I like Clive Barker too. I love. I'm a big horror guy. So the horror guys I know, I'm a big fan of Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
did you get any chance? Did you get a chance to watch? Oh my goodness, me and Laura, my honey, we watch movie previews like once a month just to get like 3 weeks worth something new, just to watch. You can sit there and literally watch for 2 hours just movie previews.
I watch movie previews all the time.
I just watched. I'm so excited, but I want to see her die. Finally, just let her die, please.
Oh yeah, I know the one.
Halloween.
I knew when you said I want to.
Jamie Lee Curtis, go away. Finally.
I don't think. See, I don't think they are.
The movie. She keeps saying, "I'm done here. I'm done here."
I don't think they are, because if you know the background, she's producing and writing the stuff.
Yeah, I know. It makes me laugh, but it's Michael Myers. He's my ultimate hero when it comes to horror, like slasher, like horror B-rated movies. Halloween, because Michael Myers has always been my favorite.
If you think about it, he's the only one that comes back with no scars, no, nothing at all.
He's the most mysterious. And I have to be honest, Mike, I don't know if you like the Rob Zombie version. I didn't like the second one with Rob Zombie, but I did like the first one. The origin of Michael Myers with Rob Zombie was awesome.
Okay, now first, I am a big Rob Zombie fan.
So am I.
House of a Thousand Corpses is, in my honest opinion, one of my top favorite horror movies, and a lot of it has to do with just the dialogue. It's very Quentin Tarantino-esque, and I'm a big reader, so I like dialogue. And the better the dialogue, the more real it sounds. Yes, I'm gonna be a bigger fan of that. But Halloween and Halloween 2, I like the first one, and I actually like Tyler Mane in the whole costume and everything. I thought I loved him bigger and more aggressive. I thought that was crazy, but the whole sister thing and passing off the whole moniker right off the bat, no. That should be done in like the 6th or 7th movie, not the sequel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was still a fun movie. I'll say that. It wasn't a bad movie. But it's kind of like Season of the Witch. Do you like that Halloween movie?
It has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
It doesn't at all, and it's kind of, it's supposed to be that explanation of the mask, and it still doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And yeah.
I'm a big horror fan.
I am too. And I'm just curious, your logo, is that from Evil Dead?
No, it's just it has
an Evil Dead. It has an Evil Dead vibe to it, and I'm loving it.
It's a zombie, and that's I think the first person that's noticed that it's something like that. But it's just supposed to be like a dead guy or a zombie. I love zombies.
I thought it was a zombie on a foot. I thought
Did you really? I thought it reminded me. It reminded me of like he drew a picture and it was for like an arm tattoo.
Right? Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
I thought it was a foot.
Okay, in real life, I was a tattooist. I tatted for 10 years in Colorado. And I was in an accident, and y'all can't really tell, but this is going to be like a world review. But 42% of my body is metal. I'll show you. But I always sit to one side in my videos, and there's a good reason, because this arm does not bend all the way.
Oh, okay.
Every digit in my hand is metal. All this, I have skin, I have metal, I have muscle, but I have big scars that are, go all the way up. When I sit this way, there's a kind of a spot you can see. When I watch my videos, I do not like certain signs, I can see the my scar right there. I don't like talking about it, but I used to be left-handed, and I used to be able to draw. I used to be able to tat. I had to learn how to write with my right hand, and I'm not normally right-handed. So my handwriting looks like chicken scratch.
Well, you guys in the chat, the chat is just going crazy right now.
One thing you should be, the person you should look up to is Frazetta, because Frazetta had a heart attack, ended up learning how to use his other hand, and he still drawed. It was still skilled. It was still. It fell a little, but it was still good enough where it was decent. You know what I mean? So it just takes practice, man. If you look at Frazetta as as an inspiration for you to get back into some type of artistry or something like that, that's one artist you can look up to, because honestly, he had that heart attack, and a lot of people expected him not to make it back from it. Then everybody doubted him, and he came back hard too. So
I still do doodle, and I mean, I can draw to a certain degree, but nothing
Right.
like nothing to what other people could do. But I
Right.
want to go back to that other question. How do I compare novels to comic books?
Yep.
It's a different literary fashion. Books are all imagination. You know, comics, they're since it's a little bit art, you know, it takes some of the imagination away. I will say in comic books, you still do have to use your imagination a lot, depending on the writers and the artists. Sometimes they leave it like completely up to your imagination, and you got to figure it out. And you're like, oh, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, just like the example I was telling the boys tonight.
Oh,
Oh my god, that damn boy.
This guy, man. Let me
Going
see.
on with two more. This one.
That guy. That book, yes. I knew you were gonna.
Yeah, that book right there.
Oh yeah. Like
I'm
you
giving
said,
it a
like
chance
the-
though. I'm actually going to buy 2 more copies. I'm going to buy a second one and a third one.
I did rebuy another copy, and I bought issue number 2 and 3. I have not read issue 2 and 3.
All
but
right, I want to read
am
2.
giving it
So
a try.
I need to know if it's getting any better.
It's on like you know, I do my pickup videos and I do my reviews and but there's a lot of stuff that I don't show you because first off, when I do get my dollar bin pickup stuff, I have a best friend that he goes through all the stuff that I find and he's like, no, I want that, you know. And then so he doesn't watch. It's like sometimes he watches my stuff way later on, and he's one of my biggest fans. But sometimes we work but when he watches it, he'll get jelly. He'll be like, "Oh, I didn't see that one in there. I need that one." And you know, and he sits there and my stuff.
Really quick here, we got a few more people that showed up in the chat. Real quick, Magic Lasso's got a question. Magic Lasso says, "Mike, Evil Mike, this is Saint Ryan. Who is the best looking redhead in comics and in real life?" Well, I can tell you in real life, that's an easy one for me. You know, I don't need to say it.
Who is it?
Queen G.
No, duh. And hi,
That's
Queen.
my wife.
Let's see.
He's asking you, Mike, not me. He's asking you the question.
Now, okay, there's not like I draw a blank, especially when it comes to names, and I'm really good with faces, and I know a lot of actors and a lot of. Okay, so if I had to say like the hottest redhead I could think of, like imaginatory, was probably like Red Sonja. Like she's the biggest one that I can think of. Even the movie form. I grew up with the movie form because I've never officially read a Red Sonja comic. I own one. And I've been trying to get into Conan and Sonja, and I am a little bit. Okay, real life, I'd have to say Reba McEntire. I think Reba is.
Okay, that's fair.
I think I don't know. There's something about her, and I'm not a big country fan. Even though I'm from Texas, I live in Texas. I'm not a big. There's certain country music people I know. Like I do like Clint Black. I like but Reba. Ooh man, there's something about that redhead.
I know Robert's favorite redhead in comics.
Who's that big screen? Who's that?
Yeah,
that's Dawn.
Oh, I love Dawn too.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I'm
a big Linzer collector. I collect a lot of Linzer artwork, and even his recent redhead or his recent like Red Dawn, and even you can see the resemblance. Red
Sonja looks like
Dawn in the face. Yeah. You can actually see it. You can see the representation like big time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of redheads. I guess, you know, she's a redhead and she's pretty hot. Mm-hmm. I don't even know who that is, but you know, she's hot. You know, hair color
on the cover of that one. I don't have that new one. Is that any good?
I haven't read it. I honestly, this is one of my friend D-Boy 504.
Part of the new Alpha Flight series, I think, isn't it?
But that's going to him.
Yeah. The new Alpha Flight is from Rob Liefeld. Liefeld put another one out.
I really bought this because Manny Abdullah, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but one of his friends draws in this comic, and I wasn't aware of that. So I watched one of his videos, so I went ahead and picked it up for him. But this is a gift for my best friend. He's in Louisiana right now, and he doesn't know that I got it for him.
You didn't know that, Barbarian?
Yeah,
I heard that. I heard that as well. I've seen it too.
I picked up that because of that guy right there.
Yeah.
I pay and it's the 4th printing, and I'm happy with it.
Who cares? I got the 4th printing too. It's my reader copy. It's my reader copy. Did you read it yet?
No, I literally like like y'all were talking about. I think that Jeff had mentioned he slept all day, and I don't blame him, man. It's like he said, it was rainy over here. It was rainy, but that don't stop Evil Mike, man. We got
Okay.
boats. We got boats here in Texas, and I make it to the LCS shops.
Yeah. Okay. Really quick. I got to do something. Done. Without further ado, give me 1 second, Mike. We're going to come back to you. My next co-host just came on. Here he is. Deuce.
Evening, gentlemen. How are you?
What's up, Deuce?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, he doesn't show his face, guys. Sorry, not yet. He will one day. Don't worry. Maybe for my birthday.
I don't need to
Not
see
even
it.
that.
Okay, back to it, Mike. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was saying hi. You know what's the Deuce? I said we don't need to see his face. He's got a killer voice. I'm good with that. Personality.
Okay, Stalker. I'm trying to see if there's any questions.
Dude,
I
Everybody's
was-
being
saw it, right?
jokers in the
I
chat
was
tonight.
reading some of the chat, and I'd like
Fuchsia's
to.
in the house. Yo.
Hey.
You should be, but thank you for coming by, love. I really appreciate it. We all do. Thank you, Fuchsia. Yeah, everybody's being jokers in the chat tonight. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm seeing is Mike a lover or a fighter?
I'm gonna go with them a little bit of both, man. I can be a lover.
Hold on. Sensitive top power. What is it? No, we won't do that one, and we won't do that one. I need 5-minute intro. Okay, hold on.
I do, babe.
Hold on.
They are the Robert vapes too. So
Yeah. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
I try not to do it while I'm recording my videos. You know.
Yeah, that one's pretty tough too. I try to keep the mic away from my face when I'm vaping, but it's all. Yeah. Anyway, how you doing, Deuce? It's nice to see you, buddy.
Doing well. Doing well.
Good. How was your day today? How was your week? It's
Station.
been
A
a little
long
bit.
week.
Yeah, and tell me about it.
me too, man. Long week for me too.
Crazy week.
Right. Yeah. It's supposed to be a short week next week, but it's still gonna feel like a long one.
Any new books, Deuce?
No, I didn't pick up too much this week, honestly.
I picked up some
Trying to
major stuff.
Dusty Brick.
What's up, buddy?
I was just saying, some of the people in the chats.
Yeah. They're going crazy here.
Fuchsia still needs to get that sword to take a picture.
Yeah,
for
she
Jim.
does. She can get on that cover. That would be awesome,
Yeah.
Fuchsia. You should.
Or
Fuchsia,
the back cover. Yeah, normally it's the models are in the back normally.
Anyway, okay. Do you have any questions, Deuce, for Evil Mike?
Hit me up.
He just
Deuce,
muted
you there?
himself.
Yeah, I'm here.
Jeff, go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
Mine was you already asked how old you were. Who's your favorite character?
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, that's a good one. Currently, I'd have to say like Joker. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, but I mean, it's kind of a tie, and I don't know that. I have to say Joker.
Joker?
Right.
Yeah, Joker. Okay.
I've
All right,
always
I got
tended to.
Yeah,
I've always
I got the
tended to-
other question is your favorite novel character, since you read novels too.
Roland Deschain from the Dark Tower series, Stephen
All right.
King.
No.
That's cool.
Some reason I figured that.
It's one of the only books that's ever gotten me to cry, like reading the last book. Honestly, it was one of the books that I didn't want to read until I was like close to the end of my life, kind of like you've seen in movies where that guy keeps that book until like after World War II. I didn't read that book like I think I read it last year, and it was really the pandemic, and I was like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I might as well go ahead and read it. And I mean, I loved it. A lot of people complain about the ending. I thought it was brilliant and great, and I don't know, but that's books.
Yeah,
Oh,
God
cool.
Country does that to me. God Country, the comic, does that to me all the time.
So I have a question. So I'm gonna pop out one for you, Mike. Who was your inspiration? What got you into YouTube, and what got you into collecting? What was your first comic book? This is a multiple question. So
I can
first
remember.
one is, who got you into collecting comic books? What really got your interest, and how did you get on the whole YouTube, doing your YouTube thing? And what's your motivation? There you go.
My motivation, I'll go backwards.
It's okay.
I'll go forward. All right. The person that got me into comics would be my aunt. My aunt Nancy got me into books. She got me into like D&D. She got me into like my love of medieval things. My dad was right along behind her because my dad was a huge D&D nut. And we're talking about, I was an 80s kid, so I grew up with early days Dungeons and Dragons. And you know, when I was growing up, comics were still being sold everywhere, like 7-Elevens and grocery stores and stuff like that.
Right.
But really, my aunt, my parents were the first people that gave me comics, but they just did it to like keep me busy. They weren't really involved in me reading comics or collecting comics. Okay, so that kind of answers that one. Next up, my inspiration to be a YouTube would probably be, honestly, I've been wanting to be a YouTuber for a long time, but on a lot of different things. And that's kind of what I want to do on my channel. I mean, because I'm into statues, I'm into a lot of different like collectible things. Like y'all seen the Hot Wheels. I do my little Evils chats, but a lot of my inspiration, if I had to say who was the reason that I finally got on YouTube, it would be Dane Comics. And a lot of, you know, I already watched, like, for instance, y'all, I watched the Comic G Spot before. I watched, you know, I watched a lot of channels before I was Evil Comics. So my name used to be something else. You know, I used to watch JoJo on Flicks and Comics, and I've been watching her for like a year. Like Manhunter, I think I started with him when he first started, you know. But I've always loved comics, and I'm not one of those guys that stopped and I started collecting again. I've always been collecting comics. Now, but that he was kind of my inspiration.
Okay.
Like and the reason being is because it wasn't like, oh, he was, you know, I love Dan Comics, and I will say he's like one of the top 5 people. I do love his videos. Like
Sure.
out of the 5 that I really like, you know, I kind of flock to his videos the second he drops them, or I try to. But he just made it seem so simple. And if y'all have watched my videos, hopefully you have.
I watch all your videos. Links are down in the description below. There's 3 top videos I really like to go check them out.
I don't do any editing. I don't do any kind of, you know, mine is I shoot. I do have to do multiple takes, sometimes because of mic error, sometimes because of background noise. I don't live in one of the best neighborhoods, so there's been times I was recording and there were gunshots outside. I was like, dang it. I've been 30 minutes into a shooting and like a filming, and there's just a couple that was outside arguing like crazy, and I was like, oh. And I just haven't figured out the editing and review, especially because I do everything on my phone. That was another thing I want to show the YouTube community, is that this can be done on any means. I don't have internet at my home. I'm doing this off my phone internet. Like, I do have a nice camera, and I link it up to my phone, but that's basically it.
Okay, cool. Quick shout out to the chat. Got a few new people came in. Carlito, buddy, what is up? Aggressively relaxing. Yo, how you doing, buddy? So nice to see you guys. Thank you all for being here. I know it's late. It's the 4th of July. It's vacation weekend. Come on, guys.
That's crazy. It's going off crazy over here.
Awesome, you guys. Deuce, got any questions for our guest tonight?
Yeah, of course. So I recently saw you just had a video that you got. You picked up a little bit of Max and some Conan stuff. Actually, I was pretty impressed to see that. I'm a big Sam Keith fan myself.
I love Sam.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of his stuff too, and different, you know, different smattering of stuff that he's done here and there too. The Max is really a great series. Do you have a whole lot of those, or are you just still kind of picking up here and there? Or I saw you picked up the #1 the other day.
Okay, so like I've talked about this event, I call it the event. I hate really talking about it, but my comic, I've been collecting comics since, maybe 85. I started actually like, around the time I was like 5 or 6 years old. I started like at that time I wasn't backboarding them or anything, but I was actually like rereading them and I had a good sized collection. I want to say around 10, that's when I was like really collecting. Okay, now back in 2015, all my comics got stolen.
Oh man,
So I mean, all and they were by like, and I mean, I have talked about it, and I plan to do just a specific video where I just tell the whole story because it's kind of simple. It was a best friend that just I was moving out, and he just right place, wrong time. But he got all my Pokemon cards, like my comics, and I'm talking about. I think I had like 2 comic book stores worth of comics because if you watch my videos, I pick up a lot of comics and a lot that I don't even share with YouTube. But okay, Sam Keith, that was I've been wanting to find the Max. I love the Max. Honestly, I love the Max more than Spawn. I think it's such an underrated comic that should have kept going, but because it's so unique and bizarre, I'm Australian, so I kind of have that love there. But
right?
right now, that was the first Max comic from the original volume that I've been able to find, and it just happened to be a #1, and it was $5. I was like, yes. But the other comic that I have found from him is with it's the Arkham Dream series that he's done recently with Batman and the Max, and I bought all of that.
Cool. Right. Yeah, he's prolific as far as his artwork and stuff, and it's done. The Max kind of made him a little batty, and like the story of him actually doing that series is pretty interesting too. If you actually do any kind of
I do. I
reading,
love that story. It's
yeah,
scary.
it is pretty bizarre.
Yeah. I think I do have one other cover. I think I have a Marvel Presents or something like that where it's like Wolverine and I think Venom or something, and it's the one that like it's kind of blown up recently, but it's the double-sided cover. On one side it's Sam Keith, and the other side is somebody
Yeah,
else.
Right.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's a Marvel Comics Presents. You're right.
I like Marvel Presents.
That's why one thing I can say about my channel, if people are like, it doesn't bother me, but if one people come, right now, my channel is not like a very, like, hey, come to this channel and see all the holy grails that you can imagine. A lot of these comics that are shown, especially the YouTubers that I watch and I comment, if I show up in your channel, and I'm watching your stuff, but some people have shown stuff that I've never even seen in person, let alone touched. Or, recently the AOK from Mr. Robert from the G Spot
You're welcome, man.
at
You're
Avengers
welcome.
1. I've never seen in person. I know the cover. I mean, I knew the second I started pulling it out of that AOK, I started trembling. It was, some things that are very familiar to a lot of comic book YouTubers and collectors are not so familiar to me. I didn't own a slab until they gave me one recently. I've never owned a slab.
Yeah,
I
I saw
have,
that was
I
super
have a,
cool too.
I have a lot of signed comics, but honestly, I like I was showing, and I'll pull it back up. But I like the signed comics I have. I don't even have any certified signed comics
Here, look
here.
at this, Mike. Mike Barbarian Kung Fu is saying, dude, Mike, hit me up. I can fill you up on some Sam Kenneth.
And I
Yep.
will.
Very cool, buddy.
I really try and subscribe to everybody that I find the first off, I love the comic book community. I wish I would have found this or been more active in years ago, because my comic book real world community doesn't exist. I don't get to
Right.
talk
But
nerds.
it's grown, man. Honestly, me and Robert from now and before, it's grown from when we started, big time.
Yeah, huge. There's always something coming out new. Whoa,
Yeah.
hold on. What is that? Hold on.
That's
Wait.
Vaporella by
That's it.
Nice.
I always forget. Yeah, and she's a Texan too. That's what's
Yep.
even better about that.
It's Ariel Diaz.
That's what it is. I always forget, but I know she's a Texan for sure.
No, but I'm, you know, like for me, I can say one thing that is brand new for me is the indies. You know, I've always been kind of a Marvel and DC, and on my channel, if y'all watch me, I haven't been a big Marvel fan of recently. Now, for fans and viewers, I'm slowly kind of getting back on the Marvel train. Um, but I mean, I've always like my love of Marvel is more like, you know, 90s before, like, you know, it's 90s, 70s, 80s, 60s, 54, you know, as far as it can go back because here at Evil's Comics, I just love comics. I don't care. I'm not into politics. I'm not into, you know, like the drama that goes into a lot of it. As long as I can read it and it's a good story, that's what I love. Some good art.
Cling wrap. Yeah, I use it. I'm sorry. I have rolls of it. It keeps them more dry. I don't have to ever worry about when I ship something and make sure it's dry. They leave it on the doorstep or something.
Yeah.
Where are we here? Boom. Gentlemen,
Well, if what's the Deuce got any more questions for him?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. So,
go
Evil.
ahead.
So, as far as your current stuff you're into, and you're just talking about indies, have you actually found any that are piquing your interest right now?
Yes, a lot. I actually brought some that I can show you, you know,
Cool.
besides, but one of my biggest ones is Layla Starr. I mean, when this
I
comic,
am loving this. Mike, good taste.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm
I
gonna
love
do
that book. It's good.
another one that people were scared of, but you know, Sleeping Beauties, from Stephen King and his son Owen King.
Cool.
I'm down with that, but it's based off his book. Of course, this just dropped this week, but Barbaric, and if y'all are not on this boat, y'all are missing out because I went to the LCS today, and guess what? Both LCSs they were sold out.
Yeah, they had the Conan
They're
homage
just
too.
hoarding them. Are you kidding me? They're just hoarding them.
They had Conan homage, but they don't order much. A lot of people don't order in.
There's another good book, Basculus. I like that.
Let's get. I picked that
You
up.
guys
Too.
haven't read about that? What's cool about that is think about shadows.
This one, man.
That's another one, and
I love this.
Titling on that, buddy. What does that say?
This is Broken Souls Ballad. It has like it's the print. It's done like an an 80s style.
Yep.
But man, it is such a good book. I think I sent you some pictures, Robert, a while back. But all that's Scout Comics and it's their Black Caravan. It's like their horror like publication.
Yeah.
What's that one about? What's that one about?
This one is kind of like New Mutants, or you know, it's kind of like because it's set up like it follows this kid, and if you see right here, it's a kid, and then there's this dog that's coming out of him. And honestly, you see the transformation as the book goes, but it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like it's a surprise for him because this is like, you know, alpha day or whatever, and his powers are developing, and his powers are he changes into this horrible like werewolf type pit bull looking dog creature. But at the same time, it's not just he changes into this thing actually has a sentient mind and memories, and he knows the kid, and the kid is you know kind of like he's weak and he gets stepped on, I think but as the story goes, the reason why I say it's kind of like a New Mutants or something like that is because this kid is part of like an adoption service, and all the other kids that have been adopted by this like special service or whatever are turning out to have powers of their own, and they're all horror like, you know, powers.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
it's horror. It's very graphic, but it is kind of like a horror.
Cool. Next. That sounds good. Yes, I was curious about this too as well.
This is basically, I love talking about this one. This is basically, and I didn't hear anything about that. It's another one where the cover is going to be hard to see because they do these like pastel.
I can see it pretty good.
But Electric Black is basically Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side. You got this guy called Julius Black, and if you enter his store, it's kind of like Needful Things as well. If you've ever seen that movie or read the book,
of course.
It's basically like this devil persona type guy, and basically you go into the store and he has something that you want and are willing to give anything for it. And he basically, like, as you go through, if you notice something, there's a story attached to it. So this one's set up as like a thief that walks into his store and he's trying to sell something, but as he walks in, he notices something. That's the first story you get, is the thing he notices. And then the guy, as he's telling the second story, he's, it's the devilish part of the story, but he's like, man, I know exactly what you want. And he shows him what he wants most in life. And then there's a whole story attached to it. And they're both really good stories, but it's set up in a kind of Tales of the Crypt, like, I'm Tales of the Crypt Keeper. Welcome to my house.
So how many are in the run that are coming out on that?
That I don't know. A lot of times I don't even look up stuff like that.
Okay.
I think I can find out for you because I'm in the works with Scout Comics for something. So be on the lookout, Robert.
There's another one.
I got you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Buddy Matt.
Then we got
That's good.
another one.
What is this?
Robert, if you did pick it up, be prepared. It's a lot of adult content in that book.
Yes.
You want to talk about adult content? You guys, okay. Since we're late at night, all right. This
Red Room.
This is unreal.
That's tame. That one to that one is a little tamer than that other one.
This is tame. This is tame.
Yes, I would say that Red Room is a little more tame than this one because I'm with Jeff, because the first 3 pages, like, if you're not ready for it, it's full of rainbows. Let's just say that,
Rainbows.
It's not the kind of rainbows you want to show the kids or your wife, or it is very,
you don't want to get caught with reading it when your wife's looking.
No, it's only the first 3 pages. The rest of the book is just a story and everything.
What book was that? I didn't see it very well. Sorry.
It's called Cherry Blackbird, and it's another Scout Comics. This one, it's their Black Caravan.
Gotcha.
But it's like this girl. It's kind of like a Ghost Rider story. It's basically like this girl sells her soul to the devil. She had a time marker, and the time is she's got a year to go before her soul gets collected by the devil or whatever, and what she gave her soul for was to become like a famous rocker, or basically, she's kind of like a mix of Lady Gaga and like maybe like, Nancy from Sid and Nancy. But I mean, that's kind of the premise of the book as far as like the main first issue of what it's set up. It's basically like her trying to get out of this deal, and she has a year, and then all of a sudden, like right at the end of the book, this guy pops up and he's like, hey, your deal's about to expire, but I got this little juicy deal that you might want to take, and if you take it, I'll cut the contract. So it's kind of a fun book. A lot of people like shun on books that are comparative to other, like that Layla Starr. A lot of people are like, oh, it's like Preacher or like Sandman. For new people, I've never gotten to read Preacher or Sandman. Right. Well, I've wanted to. I like the Preacher show. Right. I'm looking forward to anything Sandman. I have read some of Lucifer and some parts of his universe, but comic. I mean, there's so much to comics. I wish I could read everything. But I mean,
right now, I'm really looking forward to. I gotta remember her name. She is the Dragon Queen in Game of Thrones. What's her name?
Oh,
Serial Mom. Serial Mom.
Serial Mom. That's the title.
What's her name?
Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark is what I'm asking. And her new book called Mom in the Mind of Madness, I think it is. Mother of Madness. Yeah. She wrote that. She did 3 of them. She actually did 3 parts. There's 3 parts she's making.
If I'm not mistaken, she did a lot of the panels herself too. It's a lot of
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty cool.
That should be cool.
I'm interested in picking it up and actually looking through it and actually reading it. So
as far as I can say, that the only other person I've seen do this in recent, and his book's blowing up, is the Berserker with Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it'll be kind of a neat take on that. I'm very interested. I think I saw it in a book maybe 3 or 4 months ago that Image was previewing it. So I mean, I'm kind of on board. I've liked her in everything I've seen her in, not just Game of Thrones, because she's done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She has done quite a bit.
I'm drawing a blank, but I mean, wasn't she in a Marvel movie recently, or a show, or didn't she
She's-
find?
She was in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
she
that's what it was.
Oh yeah, she was on Solo. She was the bad guy in Solo.
Mhm.
But
Um,
people want her to play Mira. A lot of people
Yeah.
like signing a petition for wanting her to play Mira and wanting her to replace the one that's playing Mira now.
the other girl, Megan, whatever her name
Yeah.
is.
See, I'm looking forward to that. So that's something kind of neat.
I think it'll be interesting, and I'm definitely going to get. It's going to be one of those things, and if y'all are watching at home, you're definitely going to want to pick up because I've already heard that it has a very, very low print run. I think they stopped FOC, I think, like maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. So I mean, it's not even something you can order. You're going to have to get lucky and just pick it up at a shop or order it online.
Or if you're really good with your shop owner.
Pre-ordered a good while ago.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good for a segue right now for a couple seconds.
There's a lot of books that are coming out that look very interesting. We talk about this bubble and everything, but there's this other side of the bubble that, because we're afraid that the comic book, and I'm there too, but there's this other side of the bubble that's happening, and I'm loving it, man. You talk about all these independent comics that are just, it's like, how many bad stories have you read lately? For me, not too many.
There's been a couple stinkers.
I think in the past month I've read like maybe 2, and I read a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Now I can say I could say I stay away from subtitles because they kind of look like stinkers.
So this one here, I finally found. Okay, I got her name right this time. I want to make sure I'm shouting her out. So if she ever watches this on the rewind, this is for you. And I want to say I really appreciate it because this was a great book and it kind of underrated. And I think more of you guys should go check it out. I like Incredible Hulk. And I know Jeffrey Comic-Con is in the house tonight.
Oh, that's who that is?
Yeah, that's Jeffrey Comic-Con. Jeff,
okay.
Comic-Con, I want you to pay attention. This is the shout out from HK Wifey 420. HK Wifey 420. If you watch this, the G-Man wants to say thank you very much. Your recommendation for the Incredible Hulk. I'm going to say it again. Time of Monsters. This was awesome. This is a one-shot. Jeff, if you see this book, go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It is a one-shot.
It's the Hulk.
But it's very good. It's very good. Go check out. It's totally different. So check it out. I want a big shout out for HK Wifey 420. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I'm very happy about this. So there, did it. Boom. Make sure I got the name right. I mentioned her name a couple times, but didn't have it.
Oh, you mentioned somebody, but you didn't.
Yeah, I got the name now.
right.
All right, guys. Continue. Any more questions for Mike?
I got one for Jeff.
Okay.
Excellent.
Because I do watch all right. So what's the coolest thing as a bouncer in Miami, being a bouncer that you've ever had? Because I've heard you talk about, like, I've had to deal with this guy and that guy. Those stories are kind of regular. But what's the coolest thing that you've ever experienced as a bouncer working at nightclubs and stuff like that?
I mean, meeting some people, like meeting stars or meeting like people that don't want to be known who they are, and who they are pretty much. Like a couple of football players, basketball players, like coming in incognito, coming in and trying not to get recognized. They don't want to get VIP. They just want to sit in normal seats and stuff.
I can understand that.
Yeah, like that's mostly, you know what I mean. But a lot of the stuff is more like the fights that happened. But like for doing it for 5 years, man, like. There were not as many fights after I took over, but when I took over the lead position, pretty much.
Okay, I got one for What's the Deuce. You ready? What's the Deuce?
Yeah, what you got?
All right, so again, watching, and I know you're a big Punisher fan. Okay. I do know you're a big Punisher fan, and I took some of your recommendations.
Let's see how well you know Deuce. Deuce is a good buddy of mine.
This is my question.
I can't wait.
So now we have 5 different renditions of the Punisher, right? We're talking
Right.
about like Dolph, and Thomas Jane. I'm bad with names, so but there's 5, right? As far as I think, Paul, blah blah. It was the last one, I think. I can't remember his name. But the Netflix Punisher. Out of those 5, which one are your favorite? Which one do you believe has been the closest to the comic? In your eyes as a fan.
Well, I really, because I'm a big Garth Ennis fan, and I really like the Welcome Back Frank story. I really did like Thomas Jane's rendition. I thought he did a really good job, honestly, and I thought he was probably one of the better actors. I like Ray Stevens too. I didn't really like him as the Punisher. Ray Stevens was the one who did the.
Yes, the follow up.
Yeah, he came right after Thomas Jane.
Mm-hmm.
But the story that they did, the kind of story arc they did in the Thomas Jane movie was kind of like Welcome Back Frank, because they introduced the Russian, they introduced the big Russian, and that was a great Garth Ennis story, and I really, really was a big fan of that. And that fight scene was amazing.
In my life, I have gotten to read some Punisher. I've gotten to read War Journal. I collected that when it first dropped.
Sure.
That was one of the big ones I can remember buying, because the first issue, it just has an amazing cover to it. But I would have to agree. My favorite version would be Thomas Jane. I mean, not only is it a good movie, even if you don't know the Punisher, but no, I thought it was really good. I just the Ray Stevens one was that was kind of a joke. I wish they would have picked a different actor to be in that movie. I think it would have been a little different.
Well, I think the story, I think just the plot and the story, that was pretty weak all the way around. It's not that Ray Stevens did a bad job so much as that, because he's a great actor. I really like him.
I like Ray Stevens. Ray Stevens.
He was amazing in Rome. I don't know if Rome's one of my classic favorite HBO series. They only ran a couple of seasons, and that was a brilliant show.
I've watched it. I do like Ray Stevens. Because I would say, just as big as I'm a comic book nerd, like that's one thing I do lack, because I'm bad with names. Y'all know all these like amazing. I do know some of the big like Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. I know Sam Keith, but there's so many writers out there and so many artists that I can't keep track of everybody, and I don't know all their names now. But as far as Hollywood's concerned, no, I got all their names down, and a lot of them, because I have a huge love for. I mean, my love is just stories. So anywhere you can find stories, that's where you're going to find evil. So movies, TV, books, comics, all forms, fashion, mangas, anything you can think of, I'm involved in that.
So then, on that being said, a couple of favorite writers of yours. What do you think, Evil?
I mean, a big one, Stephen King, but and I mention him a lot. I love one of my goals is trying to read all his books, and the guy will not stop. He comes out with like 6-7 books a year.
Yes, he does.
It was like after he got hit by that car, it was like something sparked. And he was like, "Man, I better get these out." And now it's like, I remember at a time he was talking about it was hard to come out with one book, and literally this past year, I think he came out with like 8 books or something like that. I'm like, "Slow down, buddy."
Right.
Okay, so I do have other favorites because I talk about him a lot, but I do enjoy Michael Crichton. I love Anne Rice.
Anne Rice.
I like. I have read Clive Barker. Robert. I've read. I've read at least 3 of his books. And one of them I don't even think was a book. I think it was a screenplay.
Was it?
I think so. I'd have to investigate. It's been a long time. I will say there's some the other authors that I like. Child Preston and Lincoln Child, I think, are their names. So they wrote the Relic, at like it was a 90s movie, like horror movie that he did with like Tom Sizemore or something like that.
Yep. Any particular favorite comic writers?
Say it again.
Any particular favorite comic writers?
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of the ones I do like recently, like a lot of the ones that I flock to, because getting entrenched in the community now, being a YouTuber, because I kind of had this weird thought that I was just going to make these videos, maybe chat with some people. I didn't know that there was going to be this whole community thing where it was like the second you started making videos, like Spider-Man web slingers were, like attaching you and be like, hey, you gotta join into. So I didn't realize that was coming. But since, getting into other people's content, watching other people, learning about new people, there's a lot of stuff I have learned. So writers, I can say for me, like the big ones that I've heard recently, like Cates. Everybody know Donny Cates, but I'm not a big fan of Donny Cates. I have read his Venom, and I did read his Thor, and I kind of thought it was over dramatized. I did. I'm not gonna say they were bad,
You
but
need
as
to
far
read his
as
indies then. If you didn't like
now,
any of his main stuff, his indies are a little better though.
okay, see now that's where I'm
Did you read
different
a Silver
because
Surfer Black? That was my next
Yeah.
question.
because I do like all of Donny Cates's indie stuff. Now I would say Zdarsky. I everything I've read from Zdarsky. I do like his stuff, and I have read his Spider-Man. I've read a lot of his indies, you know, and everything I've read from Zdarsky so far has just been like. Another one is Tinian. You know, I am a big Batman fan, so I mean, Tinian's there for us right there, and he's dropping like, you know, 8, 9 new characters, and a lot of people like to, you know, talk bad that he's dropping all these characters, but honestly, all of them are pretty good, and they've kind of stuck around. There hasn't been one that has fallen off, even though like Punchline was one of the bigger ones that he dropped. She's still showing up in comics and has a huge fan base. I want to. I'm trying to think because and I feel bad because there are a lot of writers now, like Peach Momoko. I love her as far as like her single comic, and that's why I dropped her name as far as writing. But I'm trying to think. There is another writer that I've loved everything that they've done. Um, I think his name is Colin Bunn.
Yeah, Colin Bunn
Yeah,
now.
Colin
Colin
Bunn,
Bunn
yeah,
is
yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
I like his work.
Because see, I didn't even, you know, a lot of these people that y'all are talking about, I've read a lot of their stuff, and I just don't realize that I have read, or that's the name associated with that comic, or with that art, or with that writing. Okay, there's a big thing I need to explain. I don't really follow people. I do watch people's content, but like, okay, say I watched Jeff's channel, and I have, and I did before, you know, I became Evil's comic, but I don't want to know what Jeff does, you know, day to day. I don't care what he's eating. I don't want to see his love life, you know. So I'm not that type of person where I watch TMZ.
I can tell you that Jeff loves Vampirella.
Oh yeah.
That's why I brought that signed Vampirella to show him.
Love it.
About that.
But I'm not, you know, I'm not one of those people that, so I mean, that kind of, I can say I believe that's my problem with knowing just like the names and stuff that y'all, like how familiar y'all are with these people. For me, I think I was reading Zdarsky for about like 2-3 years, and I didn't even know that that was like, you know, maybe his comic, and then I was reading something else and that was his comic, and I was like, ooh, I like that one, I like that one. It took a couple times for me to piece the you know, pieces together that was the same guy.
Right.
Nice.
A good example I can say in that familiarity is people always brag on, you know, Michael Jackson. You know, I don't really care what he did in his personal life. I love his music to this day. I did back then. I know what he did, and it's not like I'm blind to it, but at the same time, I don't care. You know, it's like Adolf Hitler. He was a bad guy, did all that stuff, but I can still look at his paintings and be like, man, that's actually decent, good art. You know, I mean, I don't know. I have a different way of viewing people, or famous people. I don't know. All y'all, everybody out there, what the Deuce, Jeff, Robert, Hank, all, you know, all these people, Chop and Drop. To me, all y'all are famous. You know, I mean, y'all know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, not famous.
Definitely not famous.
Yes.
Infamous, maybe. Famous, definitely
I
not.
appreciate that, Evil Mike.
We appreciate it, but no.
Well, you
Not
have to think about it in different eyes, you know, because at one time we weren't creators. At one time we were the viewer, right? And at one time we were just watching these people, and guess what? You know, me as a comic book collector, I used a lot of these people. I would say one of the people I've been watching the longest time is Daz. I don't know if y'all know about his channel. It's not a huge channel, but he just does pickups, and you know, he flips through comics, and he just, you know, but there's always this little information that's attached to it. Low Budget is another one I love. You know, I'm not, you know, and that's kind of one of me as a YouTuber, that's why I haven't done the editing and the review, because guess what? I could have spent the time. I could have got a computer. I could have done all that by now. the reason I haven't is because I feel like it's not really needed. As long as you kind of give a little bit of information, show your
Barbarian won't stop. He's been yapping in the chat. I'm actually famous, but just not in the community. Would you shut the hell up, Barbarian? Barbarian's been around forever.
everybody that I can
Love
find.
Barbarian Kung Fu. Give me a break. The guy can press books and clean books. I've seen what he can do to a Golden Age book. I've seen him do it. He's done a live show on it, actually. Barbarian, you're funny, dude.
Barbarian, you might be my local guy here coming soon for some of that. Believe me.
Yeah, me too. I need one. I mean, who doesn't need a comic press and cleaning guy?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, me and Steve got one already.
No, but I do like, I mean, seeing all y'all or, watching y'all from a viewer standpoint, you already are kind of famous. At me
Thank
as a
you,
viewer,
Mike. I really appreciate that. That feels
I mean,
nice.
I'm probably the rest of them because I don't really do a whole lot of content. I do show up on live streams and do some interviews and stuff, but as far as actually channel content, there's virtually nothing. I have a channel. I have subscribers. There's no real content there to see though.
That's the only way I know you is from the show, is watching you from the Comic G Spot, and I'm cool with that too. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, that's why I'm in this community, is because I want to talk to other people that have the love for comics, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
And I love that G.I. Joe slogan. Hey, the more you know, and knowing is half the battle. And
I have to do something here, you guys. Just 1 second here. I'm sorry. There's something I must do here, and I really want to give him a proper shout out. Give me a second here.
Do it now.
Where is it? Guys, I'm gonna share my screen, you guys.
Shia LaBeouf, do it.
Yeah,
do it now. Yeah.
The chopper. Make it to
what's
the
going on over here. So you guys, if you haven't known, go check out Misty America. What I'm going to do is gonna go to the link that I got posted down below. Check this out. This is for Anthony Sika. Please go check him out. He's a community member.
Comics. Yep.
He's been doing comic books for. Say it again, Jeff. Go ahead. Keep going, Jeff.
Yeah.
For Wild Mercury Comics, it's called Mr. America, and he's doing an Indiegogo. It's a Kickstarter.
Yes.
Same thing like Kickstarter. And
Please.
the link that Robert has there, it's gonna get you guys straight over there. I think there's cards like like Pokemon card type things that are some.
Okay, so real quick, we're just gonna give him a rundown really quick. Here we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That'd make me cough too.
Hello.
Yeah.
You can add the animation of the tongue. Ah! Wowza.
And that's him singing too on this. This is his music.
That's him. Yeah, that's him playing music.
That's his music singing in the background.
Yeah.
It's jamming from what I can hear.
Yeah, and that's Anthony's art there. So
I like that.
Yeah, that's some of his work there.
That's his art.
See, a lot of people shine at black and white art. I don't get that, man. I love black and white art. You can really see the detail, and that's one of the reasons I'm loving Red Room, man.
Looks like Pam Anderson in that one.
It's kind of like a buff version of Sarah Connors.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Like, yeah, look at these. And Uzis.
And Uzis. I love it.
I'm gonna check it out, man.
Yep, that's my co-host for Extreme Nerd Table.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. And he's on Indiegogo.
Check out
Awesome.
Indiegogo.
Congratulations, Anthony. Thank you, buddy.
Mhm.
There you go, buddy. Now I did him justice. Feel better. Sorry. I had to do
You're
that
good.
because I like
You're
Anthony.
good.
Anthony has been good to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
He's been having a lot of hot takes on the show.
Has he?
Yeah. We just call them hot take. I go, we need to get you hot mitts. So like oven
Hot
mitts.
bits. So yeah, go check him out, you guys. Go support the community. There we go. And then really quick, one last shot here. We want to drop one for John. John has got a sale going on.
Yep.
Now through July 5th, 25% off on everything in his store. And his links are down below as well. Make sure you go check him out. And bam, there we go. Okay.
I just introduced one of my other friends to John, actually.
What's that?
I just introduced one of my other friends to John, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's a good guy. I'll tell you that. Oh my goodness. So you got to make sure you shout him out. You get some excellent deals on his website right now. You'd be really shocked. And especially at 25%, you're getting a steal.
Especially for those the slabs.
Yeah, go check out his slabs, you guys. You might want to check that out. All right. If she's we got Joey Bag of 7 just shooting up the shit in the chat here. Hold on.
Well, I want to see if Joey's going to be at that Sarah Frazetta signing in
She's
Newport
hulked
Richie.
out. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
We bet.
Mm-hmm.
Man, chat's blowing up.
I haven't seen Joey in the chat in a while, man. This is the first couple
really?
of times
Joey was on last week as well.
Hey, you know,
yeah.
Well, I'll take some.
Yeah.
Joey's always showing the support.
Yeah. I've been seeing, but like from last week, from last week, I haven't seen him since from that. Something like that. I meant to say like for
Gentlemen, got any more questions for Mike? Deuce? I know you do. You're like me. Come on.
Yeah, I can go on.
Deuce is like me. Deuce, I'll tell you this much, Mike. You would be shocked if you ever met Deuce, how closely he's like a brother, literally a split image of me when it comes to collecting. It's amazing.
It's really interesting. It's funny because we do share a lot of same common interests. It's very, very
odd. Man.
The more we started talking about it, it was like, wait, what? You're into this? Wait, really? Seriously?
Whoa, look at this. Hold on. Wait. I'm going to hold you to that, Barbarian. Hold on. I'm waiting for that to show up. I'm going to show that. Give me a second. Where is it, Barbarian? Where is it? I'm waiting for it to come up. I got to wait for it to come up on my side. Come on. Here it is. Here it is. Hey, if you want a deal, go claim a book from IG page and add G-Man, and you'll get 10% off tonight only. This morning? You mean this morning? It's 1:15 a.m. You got a whole day, guys. You got 24 hours. There you go.
Yeah.
Barbarian's got some awesome books. Go check them out. Anyway,
I was gonna send you that Swamp Thing cover that you asked about Barbarian a while back, and then next thing I know, I saw you selling one, and I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, back to our guest, gentlemen. Mike, Deuce.
Yeah. So, random, kind of strange question. How did you figure out that I was a Punisher fan? I don't really talk much about Punisher or even have much Punisher stuff on my page. That's why I was like, wait, what?
I think it might have been the last episode, or it might have been the episode before last. Yep. But I think it was Cap's on. It was Flash by Night.
Yep,
Flash by
Night. I remember it. Yep.
And because he was talking about heroes, I really wanted to hear what his villains are. He did talk about Reverse Flash, but I was kind of interested in hearing like overall because he was into Moon Knight. I was kind of curious to see what his villain would be. You had brought up, some of you and I think the other guy, I can't remember his name, but with the gloves and Mr. Jazz.
White gloves. Yeah, White
Uh,
Gloves, Mr. White Gloves.
Mr. White Gloves. That's Monty. Yep,
Yeah.
that's
Bad,
my other co-host.
bad with names, no disrespect.
No,
No,
it's
you're
okay.
good.
Oh, good.
But you know, you were talking about Punisher there, and I could tell that already the comics that you had, you know, brought up to Flash by Night, that it came from love and interest, and you know, I could tell right there that you were a Punisher fan.
Yep. Well, and it's funny too because I'm a fan of a lot of different stuff, but it's for a lot of different weird reasons too. And kind of like, kind of like what you were saying too. Like it's kind of specific to certain arcs and certain things because, you know, I mean, I'm a big, huge Daredevil fan too, but you know, the Zarsky stuff that he's done has been, you know, brilliant. But there was some stuff before that there for a while where I was like, wow, this is pretty rough, you know.
Yeah.
See,
So
I can kind of explain, like, and it's kind of like that, kind of like how you're talking about it. You know, people like they ask like basic questions, and there is a basic answer, but sometimes there's like the real answer is like a multiverse of questions because like who's your favorite hero, and it's like, you know, it's really the answer would be like, well, DC or Marvel or Image or you know, are we talking, you know, kind of thing. But you know, it's like in Marvel, I can say like the people I lean to, you know, a lot easier than comics that I don't. But growing up, I wasn't a big Avenger fan. I didn't read, you know, Thor or Hulk or Iron Man. It's not to say that I didn't. It was usually when they showed up in the comics that I read. But you know, growing up, I was more X-Men, Fantastic Four. Actually, one of the first comics that I can really remember, I think, the owning was the Fantastic Four annual, and I think the guy's name is Akbar or something like that. And they've got like the flying car and it's at like this angle or some shit, and Akbar is like standing on top of the car. But it's an annual. It's not a. I don't even think it's a high dollar comic, you know. But it was just one of the ones I can remember. Actually, like the first comic that I put in a sleeve and backboard, and you know I had it collected. But not, you know, growing up, I mean. There's a lot of Marvel characters that I love, and I just haven't seen them do anything cool with them. Like I'm a huge Morbius fan. I'm a huge anything kind of like in the evil world of Marvel. I'm a big fan of. Like I mean, I would say Venom, but you know, Ghost Rider, Morbius, and you know all of Ghost Rider's little crew, like King and you know, But for most comics, I flocked to him because of the villains. I was a big Spider-Man fan because I love all the villains. I was a big X-Men fan because I do love all the villains. Fantastic Four, the villains. Batman, all the villains. But that's like in DC, you know, I am a huge Bat family. Like one of my big, you know, we talk about, you know, people talk about Grails and them getting slabs, and you know, and we have big versions of Holy Grails or whatever. But there was a comic that I wanted that came out this past week, and for some reason, none of the LCS has had it. And you know, it's like finding, for me, I don't have the option of buying online a lot of times because honestly, I am usually broke with my card. I have a lot of cash, but my card is usually at a $0 status. So I do a lot of, you know, I am that guy that shows up at my LCS every week and to make sure, and I have a box, you know, and my box is full and I pick it up every week and pay for it. I even have a store credit where I have like $200 in my box just in case, you know, things get too bad. But, you know, finding stuff like this was a cover that came out recently. And I had already picked up the comic. I was there. For some reason, both LCSs that I go to, they didn't get it. It's the recent characters. This is the Bat Pack. You know, It's nothing major, but it was just a cover that I missed, and finding it at regular price, I was like, yes.
Yeah, sweet.
No, but you know, going into it, there's so many. You know, that's like, you know, like I always have to explain to people, like, oh, you read comics, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, have you read this and this and this? And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, why not? You could get trade paperback. I mean, like, but then there's so much reading. There's so many stories. And I mean, you're talking about just in DC alone. I mean, DC's like, what, 82 years old now?
Yep.
And we're talking, you know, and some of those comics started before, I think, as far as like
the best in my eyes, the best DCs that were out there in my eyes. Yes, I liked Batman, but my favorite I always gravitated towards the horror titles. House of Mystery, all of the horror titles were right up my alley. and I was all DC, and I loved that genre, and it's so underappreciated. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think my biggest DC fandom is probably all the Vertigo stuff. When the Vertigo stuff started,
Yeah.
I was already reading Doom Patrol. I was already reading, some of the stuff that was already that became imprinted as Vertigo. But I was a fan of Animal Man, and then of course Sandman came out, and then of course, I'm a big Constantine fan, so the Hellblazer stuff, and that's been named Constantine Hellblazer, depending on who did when, where, what.
And they didn't change they changed the name to Black Label, and then something happened, and now it's no longer.
No, they're still doing the Black Label.
I know that.
It's more sporadic.
Well, I'll tell you, what is it? When I was on with the boys tonight on the Comics Hall table tonight, we got a discussion on some newer books, and this is one of them, and I'm really liking it, but I'm noticing a trend with a lot of writers and artists. I have come across probably 4 different titles now that are post-apocalyptic stories.
Oh yeah.
And everybody is losing their minds about this book. It's a great story so far. It's something that's very familiar because we've all seen it in movies, but it was Nice House by the Lake. It's a great read. I'm looking for more. I want more. Great. The art was good. The art covers were great.
Yeah, next issue is going to be, I think, this week or next week, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's coming up here.
Yeah,
it was a great. This is the Black Label title, and it's a story I've heard before. It's a story I've seen before. And by the way, talking about that, you guys, I don't know, Jeff or Mike or Deuce, did you guys get a chance? Me and Laura loved it. Usually Friday nights we save for movie night. So if I look for some new movies, we usually watch something new on Netflix, Amazon, whatever.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but I loved it. The Zack Snyder Zombieland.
Oh
yeah.
That
I watched
was
that.
fun. So much fun. Now listen, I love the whole
I thought
concept.
you would enjoy it when I saw
the
it.
whole concept with the new zombie, like the intelligent zombie. That was interesting. And our favorite part, I'll be honest, we're kind of like we like a little dark, but the tiger was awesome. The zombie tiger, when it takes that military guy and just boop, 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 and then squishes his head like a grape. That was awesome. That was awesome. Me and Queen were like, what? Yeah, there were some shocking moments. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, you guys. Be warned. But
what channel is that
great. What's that, buddy?
Netflix.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's fun, dude. It's a good
watch.
I've seen it's like, oh great, another zombie movie. So I gave it a chance. That movie's long. It's like 2.5 hours long.
What?
But
that's Snyder's style, man.
But I have to say, it was good. It was a good movie. Good zombie picture.
You want to see a good zombie movie that a lot of people don't talk about. I mentioned 2. One's a little more famous, but Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maggie. You ever seen Maggie?
No,
never seen it. Look at that.
In the last, I'd say in the last 10 years, a lot of these action guys have been breaking off and doing more dramatic type of roles where they're showing off their acting skills because they're getting a little older.
There's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called Maggie.
And it's I don't remember. It's got a co-star, and she's pretty famous now. She's a current actor, but this is maybe 5 or 6 years old. It's pretty if y'all look up Arnold Schwarzenegger's last movies, honestly, he's got one about it's an airplane terminal type story. He plays a father of someone that lost a family on an airplane crash. That one's a really good watch. But Maggie is a zombie movie, but it's a lot different. I will say if you're looking for a straight up horror watch, it's not that type of zombie story. It's the other side of a zombie story that you don't really see in movies. It's about someone going through someone that's been infected and what they'd have to deal with, it type thing. And plus that it's Arnold Schwarzenegger at his acting finest.
Right.
Check
that out.
Another great. I'm a big Korean horror fan. I love all horror.
Korean
Oh, boy.
Korean horror is fun. The only thing I watch a lot of Korean horrors as well, but the
You don't
only thing
understand
about
it.
Korean films is their damn endings are so long. They
Yeah.
drag out. I'm like, God. It's
Well, in
like
the past, well,
that
if you
zombie film. Now I have to admit, that zombie film, what was it? Train to
That's-
Mulan?
no,
Train to Busan.
Train to
Train to
Busan.
Train to
Busan.
Busan.
Great
Busan.
movie.
That
That
was
was gonna
fucking
mention-
awesome.
That's
The
what I
way
was
they
gonna
did the zombies that was brilliant. It was like that was awesome. They did
Yeah.
an awesome job at that. But Korean films are fun, but their endings drag on forever.
Well, in the
Like,
past,
when is it gonna
I
end?
would agree, but in the past 10 years, it's changed a little bit. Like that Train to Busan is a new one. They've even done part 2, and I think the second one's called Peninsula.
Yeah.
Part 2 is just as good, and if you like the first one. And I think the part 2 is on streaming. You know, it's one of those free movies that's out there. I think it's on Netflix. I think, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. The Korean stuff is right now. The Busan one is supposed to be getting a English remake, but
Cool.
it's in
It won't
it's in
be as good.
development.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah,
It
it won't be.
won't be as
development.
There's
Yeah, but
always
it's in-
something missing.
Yeah, it's in
They try to put a
development
lot
hell
of
right now.
pizzazz in the American version. I've
Mhm.
noticed that with a lot of the import movies. The import movies are
Mhm.
sometimes they're a lot better than the American version.
I agree.
Real quick shout out, really quick. I want to say big shout out to Kyle from Australia, buddy. How you doing?
Woo-hoo!
No-
Australia.
Not us.
New
not
Zealand,
Australia.
New Zealand.
New
I did it
Zealand.
again. See,
I
New Zealand.
went-
Ah.
Yeah,
That's
don't call
why-
it me a New Zealander, man. Don't,
No,
that-
I know with that. Sorry, Kyle.
Bad.
He was a fellow Aussie,
Congratulations,
man.
Kyle.
That's
He's
not
almost there of getting his complete run of X-Men. Awesome,
Ooh.
buddy. Almost
but
got
he's-
his complete run. He's
yeah.
paid off his house. Now he's going for his grails.
I have,
Nice.
I have
And
6.
what was it? Train to Busan is a great, intense movie, and I'm not a big fan of zombie genre. It's really good. Haven't seen it. The second one.
The second one was good. Another good zombie movie that isn't mentioned a lot, and it got a little more steam. I think it has 4 sequels, but it's a Spanish-made movie. But it's Rec or Record but it's
yeah.
REC.
Yeah, there's an English version of that one too, and I like the
Mhm.
Spanish version better than I like the English version.
Mhm. The Spanish version is a lot better. I prefer Rec 2. Rec 2 is really good. If you like it's a, what is that called? Like found footage, you know, where they
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah, there's
Cloverfield.
I think 3 is the one where they end up on a boat or something like
Mhm.
that.
Cloverfield gave me a fucking headache. Their camera was like all over the place. I enjoyed it, but it gave me a headache. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, you haven't
They
seen
couldn't
that
keep the
Cloverfield
cameras
with John
still.
Goodman, the John Goodman one yet?
That one
John
was
Goodman.
good. That one was okay.
I like that one. I like that one.
By the way, really quick too, there is another one that people have been talking about in the chat. There was another comic book. Hold on. Where is it? Because I'm totally agreeing. Where is it? Oh, this is awesome.
Stray
And I
Dogs.
like the participation.
I
So
love-
what was it? There was, sorry
I did-
guys, I
did a
just
review.
had it and it just moved on me. Where is it?
No, you're good. We're missing Stray Dogs. I'm missing Stray Dogs. I got the second print of Stray Dogs too, but I was about to
It's a
miss
great
the
read
first.
from what I've heard. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
But a really quick shout out to you out there. There's a couple of people in the chat that mentioned Geiger. I agree. Geiger is another good post-apocalyptic book. The only problem I have with it, I love the covers. Buy all the covers. Buy all the damn books. The story is so damn short. It frustrates me. I hate the shortness of the books.
but
Some of
that's
them
how
are too
John
short.
writes. That's how he writes, really, though. That's
I
how
will-
Jeff Johns really writes, though.
I'll agree with that because honestly, I don't have any complaints with the book. Now thinking
No.
about it, it is a very quick read. Even
Yeah,
the
it's a
one,
quick read. It's
even
too
like
quick.
the second one where they went into like the
Yeah.
flashback where they were doing his whole.
Yep.
It still was a quick read, you know, compared
Yeah,
to
it's
other
too quick.
comics.
The artwork is great. That's what I have to give kudos for it. I love the covers, love the artwork. It's just the story, the reading is so short. I'm like, it's ended, or I'm like, God, I have to wait for the next one now. It's driving me crazy.
There's I can mention like the top 5 books that I look forward to when they drop, but Stray Dogs is one. I was on board from issue 1, and I loved that whole series.
Because the newest issue that came out was the last issue, anyways, and then
they're coming out.
They have a free comic book day.
The new printings, the extra printings are coming out. They're actually going to come out with a Thing version of it. You know how they're doing the horror movies? It's going to be a Thing cover. That one I'd like to get my hands on.
And then on free comic book day, they will be dropping Stray Dogs Dog Days, and it's a prequel story about the first dog that the master had. On that same day, the free comic book day, look out for the House of Slaughter. That's going to be a highly sought.
I like what Dusty said here. American remakes of foreign horror movies are generally shitty. Horrible opinion. The Western influence of American studios tend to water down over what they tend to do. And I'll be honest with you, Dusty, is they tend to put more special effects that are unnecessary.
I'll say
more sex in it too.
I'll say also
they give it the Hollywood treatment is what I like to call it.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree with this one too. Wish they would make another 28 days. Yes, that was another good one.
Yes. Like 28 months later.
Yeah.
I mean, why not continue it? I mean, it's not like the characters continued from the first one to the second one, so why not do it just some different characters, different location? Come on, keep it going. I will say about that comment about remakes, people tend to forget because there have been some good remakes of like Japanese and Korean or independent movies like The Ring. I do like the first Ringu version, but honestly, I love the first 2 Rings a lot better than that original version. The Grudge was another one. I do like the original Grudge, the Japanese version, but I will say
Japanese version's better.
I honestly, I kind of like both of them for different reasons. I think they bring different, different feels. Now, I mean, there's some horrible remakes. I don't know what they were thinking in Friday the 13th. And Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street.
I had to be honest. I enjoyed Freddy versus Jason.
I love
made me laugh.
Yeah, we love that. But
I'm mad.
The one that I hated
with no nose.
Is Jason X in space. That was so stupid. It was unbelievable.
Actually, I love Jason X.
Did you really?
Okay, but there's a different reason. There's one scene.
Okay. No, it's good. It's okay.
There's like one scene that I love in that movie. And if you haven't seen that movie, all you have to do is type in like sleepover camp slumber party or something like that. But there's this scene where they're in a you don't know it at the time, but they're in a hologram, like kind of like from Star Trek, and they're on like a holodeck and everything's hologram inside, but you don't know that until after the scene gets going. So it's these 2 girls and a guy, and they're like, it's the typical horror sex scene or whatever. And then Jason just comes through and grabs one of them that's in a sleeping bag, because I think she hides in the sleeping bag or something like that. And he just takes her and bangs her up on the tree, and that's when it's revealed that it's a hologram. And that moment when Jason realizes it's a hologram, it's one of my favorite moments in movies, that they were able to capture like someone's expression through the mask, that he was just
I get it. Yeah,
a real person. He was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the, Now, I'm not going to say it's definitely not one of my favorite horror movies.
No, but I get you. I get that. Yeah, the moment is good. Yes, agreed. I know it's when you're talking about too. I remember that.
You can't be a hilarious. So I'm one of the.
Oh, I have to say this. Oh, yeah, kinda.
I like the first. One thing that I believe that they lacked from the remake. It's not that the remake was a bad movie. It was a horror movie, and it was okay. But to me, they were missing that comedy. The comedy that
they were big time, because it was more serious. And it was really gory. And I was like, wow, man, that whole scene when she gets grabbed by the tree in the woods. Holy balls.
I was just thinking that scene.
Yeah. That was great scene. The special effects were it was creepy as hell.
Well, if you remember
the creeps.
If you remember the music
yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I still get that damn tree scene still gives me the creeps every time I watch it.
Yeah. She takes a blade and cuts her tongue in half. I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's playing right before she like runs out the cabin. If you remember that song, it's such a creepy song to listen to, like right before she runs out of the cabin. Like that whole buildup of that scene and the way they did like the whole demon or whatever it is out in the woods or whatever, it's such a great like early like horror style scene, you know, them following the mist or whatever, you know, with the
It's not the same though. I guarantee that's for sure. I have to agree with Barbarian on that. It isn't the same because it is, you know, one of my right there, like an example. Dusty is sitting there saying, "I'm with you, Mike, and I respect that you own both Ring 2, 1 and 2, Grudge, American Japanese films now, Shudder, the Eye remakes. I'm not on the fence with those.
See, now on that one, I do like the original. I think the original was a lot better, and I think it's because of that Hollywood thing. There's just things that we know that we can't do. I mean, you're talking about a lot of people don't know this, but in Hollywood, they weren't allowed to decapitate people for the longest time.
Right.
Like they couldn't show that on film. You know, there was I know in China, there's a lot of things that they are just restricted from, you know, filming in general, and I'm pretty sure it's the same.
I'll just show you something they restrict. Stuff like this, they restrict.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff they restrict, man. This, let's see, all kinds of stuff like so if you even talk anything near bad about them, they'll cut it out of the movie. Like if there's a scene in the movie where I think there's a couple of American movies where there's a couple of scenes where they actually completely cut it out, and then if you go watch the Asian version and the American version, you'll see the scene. If you watch them both side by side, you'll see that scene cut out. You're like, why is it jump like this? Or why is it, you know, why is it the word? Yeah.
Well, I was reading that comment. I do wish that the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, wish they would
movie.
Yes,
still a good movie.
I do like the original with that, and I think there's two. And most people forget like the original. I think most people refer to the Donald Sutherland version, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Right.
Because I think that was like in a 40s movie. You know, I think
it
that's
was. It was 1940s, and he looked really weird, just like the Thing. The original Thing was bizarre too.
And
you watch the original Thing, you're going to be like, "What the hell is this?"
The funny thing about the Thing is, if you actually speak Swedish, because in the very beginning of the Thing, there's two Swedish explorers who are leaving
the helicopter.
And they're as soon as they're leaving, like the funny thing is, if you actually speak Swedish, apparently they're what they say is a spoiler to the movie.
It is. Like if you watch the original director's commentary, he explains that they left that in the movie to reveal right away to anybody that spoke Swedish, which is so bizarre because who speaks Swedish? I mean, besides a Swedish person. No, but I do know.
I'll be taken to prison if I had all that vampire in China.
It's that helicopter scene where they're like trying to shoot the dog, and they say something about the dog, that the dog is infected. We have to catch it. Oh, they're going into the camp, and that's when they turn around and they're like, but they're actually like stating like, it sounds like navigational stuff. It doesn't sound like two people having a conversation.
Right.
I do. I love that.
Gentlemen, for Mike.
I'm good. Deuce.
Well, I mean, again, I could go on and on. So I was just really curious. You picked up again another issue I saw in your latest video. You picked up Man-Eaters. Have you read it yet?
No, I thumbed through it. I was with a friend and she loves pink, and she was like, you don't buy anything with pink, and I was like, I bought this cover just because it was
because it's pink.
I actually have the whole run of that series, and it's an interesting kind of series. It's not what you really think it is. I'll tell you that.
No. I did see some of it. I saw like the end ends with the girl on that choice moment, she's on the rag or whatever. Yeah, I saw something.
There was one cover that had 2 tampons on the cover.
Yeah. Okay, now meters I've seen forever. I've dollar bin diving. I dollar bin dive like four times a week. And like every time I dollar bin, they're there, but I'd never seen number one. Another one that I've never seen a number one, but I see it. I always see 250 or something, but it's Bitch Planet. It for some reason
that's
it's
classic.
another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
number one, that one, number one is hard because it was everybody wanted it, so you're never gonna find a number one. You might find a reprint, but you never find number one first print. And then, oh, it's probably Sex Criminals is another one where 1 and 2, or you'll find 2, but you won't find 1.
I have
And
sex.
then, yeah,
Ooh,
like a
see
lot of
some-
them. Yeah.
Another thing you picked up, and I'm looking forward to reading myself, is you picked up vinyl and you picked up plastic.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
waiting for
Oh.
vinyl as well, dude.
See, I didn't know that Plastic was a prequel, and it was on like another YouTuber show that I was watching. And I mean, I love vinyl. I read it, and oh my god, that's right up my genre. One of
You
my
gotta
favorites.
read Plastic and you'll like it. You read Plastic and then you read both of them together. It's you go, oh, okay.
I
You don't
want
have
to.
to.
I want to read Plastic, and I did find issue number 4. It is that I mean that's like number one.
Okay,
on
hold
my-
on. Let's calm down the chat right now. Right now.
So what are we doing now?
So Barbarian says, "Did we win a giveaway question?"
Not yet.
And he said, "No, I won." And then he goes, "Rigged." If you haven't asked the question, you haven't asked the question. He'll know when you ask it.
No one has. I keep checking the comments.
Yeah, good. Sorry, Deuce. Go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yes, but vinyl, I remember reading it that night and I loved it. There were parts, in my review, there's one panel that I talk about that it tricked the hell out of me. And you talk about some good art, because I read that whole panel, passed it up, went to the next, panel, read that, and then I kind of went back and I was like, man, I didn't really get that. So I went back to this one panel, and if you know the comic, there's one panel where it's got it's 5 different panels, set up.
Yeah.
At the very bottom, it's got this the vinyl. I don't know what his killer name is yet, the vinyl killer, but it's got the vinyl killer at the very bottom, and he's creeping out of the bathroom after Agent Ruiz over here. And I didn't even notice that little bathroom thing. I think it was like the second or third looking at that page that I finally got it. And if you read the comic, there's a scene near the end that I let a friend read that comic. And she made it to the part where the guys are locking up the Sunflower compound, and it's where the vinyl killer is pulling it. He's doing some John Wick craziness, because he basically massacres those guys.
All your spoilers out there. He's spoiling the spoiler alert.
Hey, the way I see it, what is it? 2 weeks old now? No, man, it's past time for spoilers.
Yeah.
No, but I
actually 3 weeks almost. Yeah, because if you think about it, yeah, almost.
Yeah, we're almost on another comic week. I mean,
yeah.
I try not to spoil, but honestly,
no, you're fine, Mike. No, you keep going, buddy. I'm just letting people.
Yeah.
So many people were really bugged about that, but honestly, it doesn't matter how big the spoiler is. You still have to watch it and experience
You
it.
still have to read it.
You still got to read it.
And
Yeah,
your own interpretation of what's going on is different for every person, regardless of what it is, too.
Exactly.
I mean, look, and this is to the viewers out there that are listening to this, but think about all the movies that you heard that got a bad review, and then went and watched it for yourself, and you're like, I actually like that movie,
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I mean,
Siskel and Ebert both gave Star Wars, the original Star Wars, 2 thumbs down, man.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that review when I was a kid, and I was like, what are they talking about? I've watched this movie like 1,000,000 times.
Right.
What do you call it? No, but I mean, I try and explain that on my channel, that I try not to spoil, but at the same time, spoilers. I mean, if you're watching a review on the comic, guess what that means? I mean, I'm talking about.
You're spoiling it. Yeah, you're telling them about it.
The beginning, the middle, and the end. So I mean, I can't really not spoil certain things. I will say, when I do my reviews on my weekly pickups, I try and do it non-spoiler free, because I want people to read these comics. One of my main focus and my main viewership out there should be people that are not into comics. On every level, I'm trying to get people that are interested in any way, form, or fashion, whether they're scared or they just don't know about it, but to show them that it doesn't take a whole lot to get into comics.
Well, especially in this day and age where culture is being, pop culture is being dictated by comics. they're stealing every idea they can from comic books right now to make a movie or a TV show or anything they can out of it. Because there's all these great stories that are all coming from comic books.
A lot of people.
And a lot of people don't even have any kind of idea that a lot of these stories were originally comic book stories.
That's why, I have so much fun with my Queen G, because she's always asking me, she goes, was this from a comic book? I go, and I'll tell her, yes, no, yes, no. She's like,
like
wow, really? I
Like
go, yeah.
the one I didn't know was a comic was what was it? Was it American Crime, or the one with the I forgot what the hell the movie was, but I know it was like a hitman that goes to move to a small town and stuff like that. American American Violence or Violence something. I know it was Violence.
Acts of Violence.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You talk about with Victor Mortensen, the guy from Lords of the Rings.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah.
Big shout out to my brother out there, Scott Farr, buddy. Thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
he got out of the comic book game. He got out of the comic book game, and I got him back in. He came back.
Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in.
He came back, but he's only collecting Golden Age and early Silver Age. That's what he's on his collection site now.
Yeah.
That's a quality.
Golden Age.
Look at this. Look at this, Scott. Look what Jeff picked up. Cool.
Yeah.
I love that cover, man. To me, that reminds me of Astroworld here in Houston with that roller coaster. And we had the Texas Cyclone.
Right.
We don't anymore, but
yeah. So,
we're gonna have her signed.
Like you said, right? Either right here or right above it, right there.
Yeah, right there. So you can see her.
I'd get her to sign one of the wooden panels, like somebody on there, like somebody was actually at that roller coaster and have her sign.
You're gonna have that's cool. And how old is that book, buddy?
Well, it is 1954. Is that's awesome. When they published it, and then the date stamp on it is December 25th or December 24th.
Date stamp on it, even. That's cool.
Date stamp December 24th. So somebody on Christmas Eve had to stamp all these books.
Thank you, Fuchsia. Appreciate it, love. It's so nice to see you again. Seriously.
Damn, she stayed up.
She stayed up. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate it.
She's gonna be tired tomorrow.
Yeah, she's gonna be tired.
Right. Weekend. I think everybody's gonna be laying pretty low this weekend.
Yeah, I think so too.
The fireworks never stop. Oh man.
No, it doesn't. It's all weekend.
They're still going here.
Yeah. They're going to be going for a good
here,
minute.
They go for 3 days.
All right. Any more questions, gentlemen? Before I shoot on the big ones?
Good.
I'm good. You can shoot. Good. Get the big one finished.
All right. Let's get the big one. You ready, Mike?
Big finish.
Here we go. Mike, do you have any inspirational thoughts or ideas for the community as a whole?
Don't be scared to be an individual and be creative and be imaginative. Don't be scared to put yourself out there, especially if you're one of the new ones. The best advice I can give yourself is to be yourself. Most of the channels that I love and I visit the most are the ones that make you feel like a friend, the ones that make you feel like you're contributing to a part of their life and you're along with the journey, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be comics. It could be sewing. But another thing I can say is just remember people have lives and stuff like that. Right? If you're always doing live streams that are hours and hours and hours and long, multiple times a day, you can't expect the same guys to be showing up in your videos like every single time. But that would probably be my inspirational thoughts for the community.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Well done.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Well done. Like that. All right, ready for the next one? Yeah, you blew that one out of the water. That was excellent. All right, here we go. What does thinking outside the box mean to you?
This is a question I've dealt with my whole life. I think I first encountered it with my parents, and my parents wanted me to be this version of me, and it just wasn't me. I always kind of said that they were putting me in a box and because they wanted me to fit in, to their certain viewpoints and they wanted me to do the things that they wanted to do. Thinking outside the box for me is just, like thinking outside of what the norm is. I don't really do that. As far as the community is concerned, comics going, I always try and think of outside the box of like, okay, well, Marvel's, focusing on these characters and yada, yada, yada. And we kind of see what they're leaning to on the next 4 to 8 years, whatever it is, movies and TV wise. So we kind of know who's going to be big, but who aren't they talking about? Who could pop up in a TV show that we don't know about? That kind of thinking out the box. And as far as DC and that goes, as far as like me being a collector, when I go out and dollar bin, I don't go for the stuff that people are bragging about that are current. Like, look at this Something Is Killing the Children one I found in a dollar bin. I mean, you're not going to find that. If you do, you're extremely lucky. But thinking outside the box, like for instance, I was able to get recently like a Superboy #9, and like I got King Shark's cameo, and I got his first appearance out of a dollar bin, and they're pretty much brand new direct editions, and at the time it was right before they had dropped the Suicide trailer. I mean, and I just happened to like King Shark. It was just something I was looking for. That's what I can say as far as thinking outside the box if you're talking about comics. But as a whole, just don't follow the norm, man. Everybody's getting on what's a nut or whatever that new thing is, or TikTok. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to. Wait until you find a reason to want to do it, kind of thing. I don't know.
Bravo.
Well,
Welcome to the community, Mike. That was awesome, buddy. Well done. And I think we got that. Gentlemen, you got some more questions for Mike? And anybody in the chat?
So, Mike, do you have any particular, are you a Vertigo fan whatsoever?
I am. Okay, see, and I wanted to talk about that earlier, and I know it's going on long, but I don't really have a time limit, so
no, neither do we. So I'm good.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Okay, so Vertigo is brand new for me, but not really. Okay, so Vertigo was introduced to me, and get this, I've been in comic shops my whole life. I mean, here in Houston, I can name off some of the ones that deceased, past the bubble, some of the ones, I mean, I've been in the comics my whole life. So, and I've seen Vertigo. I didn't realize it was attached to DC until Constantine, the Keanu Reeves movie, and I really fell in love with Constantine, and then finding out that wasn't even the version of Constantine that's in the comics. It's kind of a a Hollywood. And I like that movie. It's one of my favorite. Not favorite, but it's up there. It's a great movie.
I agree. I like that movie too. But again, Constantine was a way different character.
Yes. It was. And okay, now since then, now I have a huge love for Vertigo. I just didn't know it was attached to, like growing up, I can remember seeing Sandman stuff. I just didn't know what it was or what it represented or how big it was going to be in the future. Like the Crow. I've been a Crow fan since the original Brandon.
Love the Crow. Excellent choice.
Now I will blow your mind, because to this day I have never seen any Crow comics in real life at a convention, at a comic. For some reason, there's certain comics that get blasted and they're just not at my comic book shops either by the time I get there, or I've been to comic shops that just don't, because growing up in the 90s, I went to this one comic shop and all they picked up was Marvel and DC. They didn't really focus on any kind of horror or, outside of the bunch. So y'all talking about, horror being your favorite genre. Honestly, that's like my 20s for me. That was in the 2000s that I finally got to start reading horror comic books. So I'm kind of going backwards, current, forward with horror. But a lot I can honestly tell you a time where I got beat by my dad, because, and a lot of people don't realize this, especially new comic book fans or of the genre, but back in the day, we actually had that comic code where you had to be a certain age to read the comic. It had like a 17, or I think it was 17, but some of them had 18, and sometimes I've seen some that had a 21 rating. And I remember, like, I loved Lobo ever since, I'd seen the covers. I think I was at a friend's house and he had like Lobo's back or something. And I remember running.
Lobo fan, huh?
Yeah. And I remember going, one of my grails that I'm trying to get right now, because and I have like Omega Man, like the Omega Man 1 through number whatever it is leading up to his first appearance, and then I have every issue after his first appearance. I just don't have his first appearance.
I thought his first appearance was Omega Men 2, right?
I think it's in like 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, I think it's in 8. He didn't show up for a while, and then he shows up once, and then he's like, he doesn't appear for like maybe 3 other issues, and that's really his like, because I think it's like a cameo. I'm not sure. Don't quote me.
I remember that's why I was curious. I thought it was number 2, but I could be completely wrong.
It could be something like that, but I know it's not the first. I have the first one, and I find the first one in dollar bins all the time, and I always pick them up because I love the cover. I think I have three different covers. I have like one that's a really beat up comic that I've
You have
had.
his penis arm one?
Huh?
Do you have his penis arm one?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have that one too.
But okay, so back to Vertigo. I really do love Vertigo, and recently,
His
like
first appearance, Omega Man 3. That's why. That's why.
Omega Man 2.
That's why Deuce is saying 2 because it's like right after.
It's like right after. I know it's not like
early issues.
Yeah.
I know it's not like the first. I remember that, and you know, usually it's always like the first issue is when the guy comes out. I remember he shows up later, and I do know that most of his comic run is from like Legion of Superheroes. Like that's kind of where he takes on, where he picks up the Lobo, the current Lobo personification. But like, okay, back to Vertigo. So now from Constantine, I pick up everything Vertigo. Like I've read, like, you know, I haven't gone backwards, and I haven't read a lot of the Sandman, but I do, like, every time I go out and I find older like Hellblazer comics, you know, from the original Constantine series, anything like the 52. One of my biggest loves that I don't really talk about, but they're just not current right now, but Justice League Dark. I love everything.
I like that.
I love
Justice League Dark.
I'm only missing a couple of issues from, I think, the second run, and I have all of them.
See, like, you know, because that was around the time when like 52 had first started. When was my comic book collection had started. So like Batman, I made it all the way up to like 0 year. Like you know, like Justice League Dark, I was like 50 issues into it, and I had the whole runs from from 1 and then 0 and then on, because 0 came out a little after. But those were like comics that in the event disappeared, and now it's like I'm having to recollect them. But Justice League Dark is a series that is worth recollecting, especially like the 52 run. I love it so much. The art, just everything that's in it. I got so excited, and I'm so pissed off that they still haven't done it. But come on, give us a movie. I thought Guillermo del Toro was going to give us something. I don't care if it's a show. A movie. I would prefer to, you know, a lot of people do this shine when it comes to TV shows. Are they not watching TV? Some of the best, you know, media that has come out recently is TV shows, because if you have the right people behind it and the imagination behind it, I mean, you're talking about comics that are 80 years long. Like how much story can you fit 80 years into 2 hours, you know?
That's just kind of like an example of Zack Snyder's Justice League, his remake.
4 hours.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why didn't they do that the first time? Damn it.
Look, I'll tell you a nerd moment. When that movie dropped, I loved it so much, I watched it again.
Yeah, I watched it 3 times.
Wow.
Then after that,
watched it 3 times.
Then after that, I felt so bad. I contacted DC and tried to pay them directly because I felt like I was stealing, even though I was paying for it. But I tried to send them $10. Okay, so after that, after they wouldn't take my $10, I literally like started Googling if they were showing it in a real theater, and I went to go see it IMAX. So that day I watched it 3 times, and the last time I saw it on IMAX, it was so amazing. I love that movie.
Man,
what Barbarian just said is absolutely correct. The Justice League Dark stuff they did for the animated stuff for DC was amazing. All of it was amazing.
It was very good.
Well, see, you know, that's where, like, and I do agree with a lot of people that DC is lacking in their movie verse, but their animated verse. I mean, the animated universe is killing it. I just watched the Batman Long Halloween. Oh my God, everything that they've come out with animated wise, and even if you're not a fan of Wonder Woman or Flash or the Justice League, those animated movies, they are some
good ones. Really, really good ones.
Yeah,
especially some of the rated R. You know, like honestly, people ask me like, you know, like about the Dark Knight Returns a lot, and I love the comic. You know, I wasn't aware that Frank. You know, I wasn't aware of that story until I was in my 30s, I think, until they did the animated movie. I went back, I found that copy. I've read that story like 3-4 times. I love it. But I will say I honestly love the animated version a little better because you actually get the voices. I mean, they did such a great job of how close it is. They've actually added, it's kind of like you get more of an experience with that animated movie that you didn't with the comic, because some of the comic left it up to imagination.
Right.
Like the whole the whole Ronald Reagan and President Superman thing. In the comic, it's really, really brief. It's not as fleshed out, but in the animated movie, it's like, you know, you get to see Ronald Reagan, you get to hear some of his jokes, and you
I
actually
have
get
the comic actually of that book with Ronald Reagan in it.
I've never even seen I've never even seen single issues of that. I've never even seen the Killing Joke in single issues, if they or the original like book that it came. There's so many things out there that I've never even seen with my own eyes in front of me in person. I've never seen Death of the Family. I've never seen Death in the Family in single issues. I've never seen The Watchmen complete in single issues.
Wow.
I showed you that, Robert, that I have like three issues from The Watchmen, and that's all I've been able to find.
The Watchmen was an excellent movie as well.
I love Watchmen.
Well, the books, I thought the books were far superior, but they've actually got some prequel books that are coming out for the Watchmen too that have been coming out here and there, and they might be a little bit older now, but some of it's like the issue bits. So like there's like a Rorschach issue. There's like a couple of different random ones that are coming out here and there. And I think I've been picking those up gradually.
It was called Before Watchmen, and I think it came out back in like 2015.
Yeah, it's a little older.
I love Rorschach in it though. He was great.
Yeah, like if they did or even in the front alley. Who are we kidding?
Right now, Rorschach has his current series, but it's not. It's Rorschach after Watchmen, because it's not about the original.
It's Rorschach, but it's the Rorschach's.
It's like his ghost.
No. It's not his ghost. It's his.
It's his trachyon displacements.
No. It's his,
if you want to get technical,
the character is his psychiatrist's son. That's what it is. That's who's playing. Yeah, that's who Rorschach is now. The character is now. It is. If you remember watching the movie, seeing him in it, it's his son. Or reading the comic, it's actually his son. So it's interesting.
Thank you, Carlito. Thank you, buddy.
You might be right. I mean, I remember the psychiatrist in the movie, at least. I don't know about the graphic novel, because I have read that's the only version I've read of The Watchmen is the trade paperback or the graphic novel, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. But and I'm a big Alan Moore fan. I love Alan Moore, all the stuff that he's done. The Extraordinary League of Gentlemen, I love that. Mm-hmm. But I thought he was black.
Yeah, it is.
In the movie, when Rorschach, it's a white guy.
But I think what was it? What was it? Either the comic or the movie. One of them. It's in one of them. I forgot which one, but yeah.
Okay, Jeff. I will admit that I am reading Rorschach, and I pick it up like I'm a huge Watchmen fan, so I've been buying anything I can Watchmen, and especially since Rorschach is ongoing, I have been reading and collecting it. But I will admit something: the story is so bizarre and crazy because they're flipping around so much from the past, the present, and the future, and I really haven't completely gotten the whole story yet. So I'm hoping that, you know, with all 12 issues, when we finally get it, because it's been going on for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
That I'll be able to piece together it better.
Right.
I think
so they do the Doomsday Clock was the same thing.
You know, in Doomsday Clock, I only really remember the first 6 issues with Marionette, and I loved all that. I thought that was great. They're meeting with the Joker and everything, and then like it does this whole stretch with like the 5 other comics behind it, and I don't remember pretty much any of that. I remember the whole kind of Superman and Dr. Manhattan like meeting and that whole explanation. But as far as remembering the whole story as a whole, I don't remember it.
We have a question here for you, buddy, Mike. Give me a second.
Yeah, let's go.
Where is it? Carlito.
I did like Doomsday Clock, even though a lot of people frowned on it. I actually loved I love the art. I just love that they're continuing the Watchmen series somehow, some way.
In some way, shape, or form, right?
Huh?
I said in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, like just like that, I was one of those guys that didn't really know about the Watchmen until I saw the movie. In my opinion, I love the Watchmen. It's actually, if you had to ask me what was my favorite comic book movie, like compared, like comparison to a comic book that's closest to a comic book, I would have to say the Watchmen. And I'm not talking about the original version. It would have to be the director's cut, the stuff that they added later on.
Right.
I think because I have read the novel and I do love the novel, I believe it's a lot better. And I believe that, they did leave a lot of stuff out still. But as far as how the comic book feels, how it looks, how it's presented, the music they picked, I think it's the closest version, if I could say, to that we presented. One of my biggest problems with comic book movies, and I don't understand this, is we do, when they make movies, right? They use storyboards and scripts and an effing comic already has all that, right? And they make so many movies from comic books and stuff like that. And in 2000, they give us the X-Men, right? And I don't know what years they chose to set that X-Men.
That's Fox for you. I'm sorry to say, that's
this
Fox.
weird rogue and that was young.
It pisses me off too.
What gets me is where is this concept that, because they already have the storyboards, that you're talking about saving money. They don't have to pay a dude to do storyboard. It's already laid out for you. They're like,
Exactly.
they just post a comic
on
with
one director instead of multiple directors to make something.
Let me just put this out there. I think my closest comic book to actual movie was probably 300.
I like 300s. Yeah, that's another one I love.
Too. I like it too.
But again, Frank Miller was actually a part of the whole process, and again, did the whole thing with
But
it was shot.
I'm sorry. I have to say this, Deuce.
What?
The second one was even good because of
I liked it too.
Eva Green. Oh my
God.
She was so hot in that. Redhead warrior queen taking on another king.
300, I think, was probably
that
the
boat
best
scene was one of my favorite scenes.
I think 300 was probably the best from comic to actual movie, because you actually had the writer and artist Frank Miller directly involved. One of the first times that I remember that actually happening to that degree.
Yep,
I think you might be right, because I think that was the first time.
He was there on Sin City too. Sin City was the one that he
was. Sin City was good too.
Brilliant too. But again, Sin City was Sin City was definitely a kitsch market, because again, I love Sin City. I love Frank Miller. I have a lot of that stuff, but 300 I think was the better marketable movie because it was actually based on historical events.
Yep.
Monopoly, you know what I'm saying? And then the way that how graphic that novel literally was and that comic was. And there literally were scenes in that movie that you could go back and flip through the comic and go, oh, this one right here. This one right there. This one right here. Like, I mean, almost literally, they set up scenes in the movie to be almost identical as much as they could to the actual comic.
That's another comic I've never seen in person. I've only seen the paperback version. I don't even know what 300 looks like the covers. I've never even Googled it. Or I love 300. I'm right there for you. It's some movies that you forget were comic books, but I would have to agree that it might be a time because
Carlito
was an amazing
unpopular opinion. He didn't like 300, but he enjoyed Spartacus. I have to say, Carlito, I like that as well.
Like what was it? The first season of Spartacus up until the R.I.P.
The main actor died in that. Yeah, he died from cancer. That was a blow. Wow, was that a blow?
After
really good.
To me, it kind of deteriorated. It just didn't have the same feel. I did like the first season of Spartacus. I was really into it, and I was looking forward to it. And then that tragic event happened. And
no kidding. It wasn't the same. I agree with you there.
Because I love medieval stuff, so I do.
So do I.
I do watch, and I'm okay. In the beginning, your intro that's my favorite scene and the best scene from that movie, Dragon Slayer.
See, in my opinion, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
We did. We talked about that, about Dragonheart, and
I am very particular about my dragons. Okay, a talking dragon is to me like Puff the Magic Dragon. invisible.
Honestly,
I just was watching The Hobbit, and I got to say, Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug was brilliant.
he does an excellent job. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
Deuce, I agree with you there. That
to
was
me,
awesome.
It's a beautiful dragon. It's you know what I would want from a dragon.
Well
the
done.
talking
Yes.
part is done excellent.
You know the reason for that, Mike, too. And we think about it. Smaug, that whole Lord of the Rings dragon itself. The reason why that takes such a note with us as dragon lovers is because of D&D.
Oh yeah.
It's so on point with the whole gold crypt and that whole thing there, him guarding the gold.
You're talking about. I grew up with that original theme book in my house from the
Me
original
too.
module of D&D.
Yes.
My dad was one of the, like, you would call it Kickstarter, but I remember the original D&D box, and it came in this flimsy cardboard box like this, and it had a red cover, and inside it had a red book, and the red book.
And what was the secret behind it, gentlemen? A good storyteller.
Hell yeah.
Game master. Your game master needed to tell a good story. If you could tell a good story, there was one gentleman that I used to play with. His name was Holler. I swear he's a lot like Dusty Brick Brown, my buddy. He's got that deep voice. He would bring in the special effects, set up the dungeon, and he wasn't an asshole dungeon master neither. When he set the story up and all of us guys were around the table drinking with the whole 9 yards playing this game, it was fun. He made it fun. The secret to that game is using your imagination and having a good DM that can tell a good story, to really involve you with the story. That's the secret behind D&D. And the big secret behind it too is imagination. You have to visually see it, not have the pieces. I've played all those games and they're fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is, you know what I'm saying? In the end.
My thing with D&D is I've tried to do it like 3-4 times, and I would love to find like a group where I could play D&D. I love board games, and my problem is I can't find people that will take it seriously.
Another shout out because we're talking about D&D.
John's Comics for Kids.
Yeah, he does it. John Comics for Kids does that on a Sunday, and Marvelous Comics does it periodically as well.
Yeah,
he actually signs up with a bunch of guys. I've watched it. I told him I sat here in the living room bagging and boarding for 4.5 hours while I played this game online. Watched the whole thing, acting and all, and it was entertaining. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Well, that's
they were playing D&D. Excellent.
Well, that's like in the real world, you know, like the guy who portrayed Deathstroke in the movies, but Joe Manganiello, he plays D&D. Like Vin Diesel, he plays D&D. Like and a bunch of these like guys that we see as these, you know, these action stars and stuff. They're like Henry Cavill, man. You ever watched any of Henry Cavill's stuff on Instagram? You know, him playing video games, or you know, him collecting comics, or it's a blast, man, to see that they're just as nerdy as we are. You know.
Yep, it's fun though. It is so much fun. Jeff. Joey Bag of 7.
I would role play anywhere I get the chance, man.
Yeah, of course we would.
I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'm just saying that was too easy.
You know what though? Because Jeff gets it. I get it. We all have our own dungeons. Give me a break.
That's what Evil's dungeon. You know?
Bag of Sevens. I have to say, I actually liked that, but I am also there with Jeff. Sorry. That's funny.
I grew up doing all that, man. I played Magic. I've done Warhammer.
Magic. Warhammer.
Gathering, Pokemon.
Oh my God, I spent thousands on Warhammer. The pieces, that's what made me go blind. The painting of the miniature pieces. I have like a 6,000 point army, Chaos Space Marines and the demons. Just for that game. I still got them in boxes put away in storage. We would go into, what was it? It was a gaming store, Games by James. And they would literally let us use the front of the store at the mall And
play.
we would literally, my buddies would we'd make up square 1 foot pieces, mountain terrains, trees, you name it. Because everything was measured in inches and centimeters when you played that game. And everything was visual when you played it, and dice roll like D&D, but you had to measure things by piece by piece by piece. And it was like playing Army Men, but more technical. And Chaos Warhammer 40,000 was a science fiction based in a fantasy realm game,
Like
and it was
Evil.
so good. The modules alone, the book modules on every one of the groups, was so much fun to read. There was a story to be told right there. They did an awesome job on that, but it was an expensive game. You paid a lot of money to play that game.
Like no, but I've been entrenched in the nerd world, I think, since the get-go. I was on board with Magic the Gathering when it started because I was already going to comic book shops, and I was one of those kids that picked up all those Ultra Flare Marvel cards and DC cards and
Magic cards, your guy.
Yep.
Magic cards. Wait, what was it?
So if you need Magic cards, I'm your guy.
Yep.
Ooh.
I got Magic cards. I still buy Magic.
That's Magic. Yep.
I've been
That
loving
is
it for
so addicting, gentlemen. I'm going to warn you, everybody in the chat. Magic
know.
the Gathering is here's the cool thing I like about Magic the Gathering, and that what I do miss. Magic the Gathering has its own set of rules. I love that, dude.
And
That's
it's
freaking
revolving.
awesome.
If you know that's a game.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
I grew up playing that.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of Magic cards.
Yep.
Yep. Because I know Perillo, where Perillo started was Lucio Perillo started in Magic the Gathering cards.
I do know that, Jeff. I do know that.
Yeah,
And
Perillo started there.
Some like Boris, he was a big early Magic.
Yeah.
There's been some good ones, man. I mean, just for art alone.
Yeah. I just wanted to have. I would like Vallejo's cards, and I wanted freaking Perillo cards. That's all I really want. I don't even want anything else.
I remember back then, in the '90s when Boris Vallejo was dropping those cards, the fantasy like medieval, sexy female card. Man, I love those cards. I used to buy them. I mean, you talk the art that was in it was just amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything else, gentlemen, tonight?
I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're on 2 hours and 19 minutes.
We're slacking.
I love it.
19 minutes, we're slacking.
Yeah, we are. Any more questions for Mike Deuce?
No, Mike, I think, again, like we've covered all kinds of great stuff, man. We will talk for sure for some more, I assure you.
Please, you're more than welcome to come on the show at any time as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate it big time. I mean, this is my first live.
Yeah.
So
like I told you, it won't be your last. You do one, it won't be your last.
It's a milestone.
Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself, Mike. I hope it was a nice introduction. Seriously, and community, please go check out links description down below. I posted Mike's links to his website, his site. There's a shirt. Hold on. Here we go. Boom. Bam.
I need a shirt.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I'm totally getting a purple shirt, bro. I gotta get one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Jeff, we're gonna go to you first.
All right.
What you got coming, buddy?
Yeah, I got Extreme Nerd Table coming tomorrow. And if you didn't see our thumbnail is actually Black Widow. I'm actually Black Widow, and then everybody else is the side characters. It's pretty funny. So
yeah, it is.
And then we got Cantonese Comics Wednesdays, every Wednesdays. And next week we got the Extreme Nerd. Well, the nerd. I always mix them two up. The Nerdy Collective first, and then we got Extreme Nerd Table next week. But you make sure to tune into those, and I'll tell you guys how the Sarah Frazetta thing went, because since it's Friday. So that's pretty much what I got going on.
And Deuce.
Hey, I'll be here with you next week, man.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Working like crazy, and doing my thing, trying to find books and dollar bin diving, and trying to sell some stuff too, because God knows I need to.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Evil Mike, buddy, thank you so much. This is your time. Just tell the community what you're doing, what's going on.
I got all kinds of stuff going. I mean, if y'all didn't hear, I drop videos all the time. I don't have a schedule, but I do have a couple reviews that are coming probably after this show. But I do weekly pickups. I do dollar bins. Those usually Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays are my busy days.
Anything else, Mike?
Just thanks everybody. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks
Absolutely,
to
brother.
showed up tonight to witness this. Thanks to everybody who's rewatching this. Man, I the love and support, I can't say enough. It's really appreciated, and
You're welcome, buddy.
I mean, I'm just loving it.
Good, and you're welcome anytime. So anytime I do an open show, I'm going to send out tons of links to everybody. Hopefully, you show up in the links. Okay. Definitely. You're welcome back anytime, buddy. So please. And everybody in the community, please go check out Mike. Go check out his links down below. Got a link to his site. Also, make sure you check out Marvelous Comics now through the 15th. Everything is 25% off on his website. Go check him out.
Through the 5th?
Yeah, actually. What's that, buddy? Deuce?
Through the 5th or the 15th? You said
The
15th.
The 5th.
Okay.
The 5th. It's through the 5th.
What?
25% off until the 5th of July. Yeah, I went and looked at, I made sure that was right. But even on his slabs, guys, go check them out. Go check out a father and son team. And then what else do we got? One last real quick rundown. We got the Comics and Crew Roundtable. They do it every Saturday night. I'm going to drop another quick little intro for them. So go check those out. That was on their show tonight around 7, 8 o'clock. Ran for a couple hours. Talked about CGC and a bunch of other things that piss us off about eBay. Go check out their show. Here's a little intro for them. So you community and everybody on the panel tonight, my co-host, Mike, my special guest, you are wonderful tonight. You're welcome back anytime. Deuce, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you, the community, I want to say thank you very much. Everybody in the chat that showed up tonight in the live show, come back next week. And we have another guest coming up by next week, and I want you to check him out. His name is Zen Multiverse. This guy has got some excellent X-Men knowledge. He's actually showing me a few things that I did not know about. And he'll be on our show next week. And we got another guest coming in 2 more weeks from that. But real quick before I leave, big shout out to Jigs Comics. You're funny, dude. I have to say this. Big shout out to Jigs. Jigs, thank you for the Marvel. You sent me an AOK. I haven't been able to find any Marvel blister plaques at all. All I can find is DC at my local Walmart. And Laura picks up one, and I'll pick up one every couple of weeks. I'll pick up a pack. But he sent me a Marvel one. So thank you very much, Jigs. I appreciate it. And another quick shout out. This is very, very sweet. And this one was from Max Comics. I want to say thank you so much. I had bought 2 books from her. I'm going to show you some Independence. And she actually threw in an AOK with the 2 books that I bought from her. She was on an auction probably a month or so ago. My camera is going berserk. What's going on? Got all blurry all of a sudden.
We can still see you.
Dude,
Yeah,
Max is awesome.
What's that?
Max is awesome.
Yeah, Max is awesome. But this is what I bought from her on her auction. And these are 2 I did not have, and it was Deathmate.
Nice.
Deathmate This one is the silver cover, and the other one was the gold cover. I
I
bought
see
that off
the
one of
sign.
our auctions.
See those all the time. Am I supposed to get those?
Yeah, you should get the whole set. There's I think there's a red one, and there's
Yeah,
one
I've
more
seen
color. Can't
They
remember.
have like 6 colors. I see the gold and
Yeah,
the silver all
definitely a
the
good
time.
run if you read it. Hold on, I lost Deuce. Get Deuce. Deuce is in and out. Hold on, what's going on here?
Deuce got too excited. Pushed the wrong button.
No,
Okay.
actually, my phone was dying, so I had to switch over to my tablet.
Gotcha. So big
Oh,
shout
okay,
out.
okay.
I got a little note from her, and she put a little red head on there. Look at that. What a sweetheart.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Max. And this is what she sent me in an AOK. And I am going to read this. She sent me 7 copies of Grace. Here's 7. I have no idea what this is. And here's 6, 1B. And there is 5. Here's issue 5, Grace. Issue 4. So I just want to give her a proper shout out.
Yeah, I saw
What's
18
that?
plus on the book. I saw 18 plus on the book.
Yeah, it's adult oriented for sure. Look at this. Looks like Ice Cream Man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where
Uh-huh.
Ice Cream Man took it from.
And then we got one. Well, this came out, I think, before Ice Cream Man did. This is a while ago. But a big
That's what I said.
big shout out to you, Max. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. She's always looking out for us. She's always sending me links when she's doing the auctions with the other boys. So thank you so much, Max. I appreciate that. So now that we're done there, I just want to say thank you to you, the community. Come back next week on the next Nerdy Collective. Come on and see our new co-host, and our new guest. Peace, love, blessed be you guys, and another show down. Thank you guys.